Yo, 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 what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another crime cast. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right. So shout out to everybody that came here from the last stream. I appreciate each and every one of you. Yeah, we about to get into it. We want to have a good time. Actually, it may not be a good time. Some of this stuff may actually freak you out. You know what I'm saying? So real quick, I want to give a shout out and a thank you to everybody that followed me over from the last stream into this one. Shout out to my man Cameron Jones. Shout out to Lloyd Sky 9. Shout out to Carla Lockhart. Shout out to Chicago B1. Shout out to my man Tone. Shout out to Cameron Jones. Shout out to Val. And shout out to my man DeAndre in the building. All right. So quick sound check. If you guys can hear me, okay, give me a thumbs up or a radiation emoji. If you guys cannot hear me, give me a thumbs down. All right. And I will try to adjust the sound. Hopefully you guys can hear me. All right. So we got some more police corruption. Is anybody surprised? But this police corruption did not make the national news, like how the unfortunate things that happened to Tyree Nichols did. What we have here are San Jose Sheriff Office employees placed on leave after the arrest of a correctional officer. Now, how many stories have I covered of corrupt police and corrupt correctional officers? It goes down in the jails like crazy. Shout out to Robin Ann Battle. What up with it? Let's check this out. And we got a ton of everybody's favorite crime topic, familicide.
We are learning more information tonight after a correctional officer was arrested in San Joaquin County.
The sheriff gave an emotional update and even apologized to the community.
Our top priority is the safety of our community, even if that safety requires us removing one of our own officers.
The San Joaquin County Sheriff formally announcing correctional officer Brandon Wolf.
There you go. Get a good look at that thug, Brandon Wolf.
Was arrested Wednesday on suspicion of possession of a controlled substance with the intent to sell, illegal possession of an assault rifle, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of marijuana with the intent to sell.
The police are the connect. How many times have y'all heard me say that? The police are the connect. How many times y'all heard me say that? Y'all heard me say it a lot, or y'all heard me say it a little?
Once we caught wind of any wrongdoing, we acted with swift and appropriate measures to remove this cancer from our office. This behavior will not be tolerated, and it is no means a representation of the courageous men and women who come to work here.
Here we go with the template. It's by no means a representation. Now, you know what I find interesting? They didn't say that it was by no means a representation when it came to the Scorpion unit, and they just shut the Scorpion unit down. Ain't that something? They didn't use the template. Now, how many times have we heard this same template before?
There's no means a representation of the courageous men and women who come to work here every single day.
The sheriff announcing 3 other colleagues are now also on administrative leave.
Uh-oh.
Out of an abundance of caution, 3 additional San Joaquin personnel that include 2 correctional officers and 1 civilian staff were placed on administrative leave also. At this point, I cannot confirm whether or not they were involved with Mr. Wolf's criminal activity.
Wolf was booked into the San Joaquin County Jail but made bail and was released around 5 p.m. Wednesday.
I stand behind the fact that we are all innocent until proven guilty. If during this investigation more information is brought to light, we will address it immediately with you at that time.
We're all innocent until proven guilty. What about those people that get murdered before they make it to court? Yeah, you noticed that about the Scorpion unit. They didn't give the usual speech. Isn't that interesting? And what I find interesting is that the mainstream media isn't asking why that is. But I'm going to ask you guys, what do you guys think that is?
Time.
Meanwhile, as the investigation continues, the sheriff offering an apology to the community.
And at this time, I'd like to take the opportunity to apologize to the citizens of San Joaquin County, to the other law enforcement agencies in our area that will feel the wrath of this stain that has been brought to our department.
You can read more about the investigation on our website, abc10.com.
Now, that wouldn't be a scorpion sting now, would it? I hope not. Shout out to my man, Ronnie. Ronnie came in just in time to hear some more about familicide. Shout out to Genesis is Lazy Duck. Good to see you over there on Twitch. If you guys aren't subscribed on Twitch, make sure you guys go check out Blacklight Revelations on Twitch. We can't continue to live like this. There was a haunting 911 call before an entire family was found dead. Okay, so let me see here if this is if they're talking about that on here.
Deadly shooting that happened in Harvey.
They just got in a situation and it seemed like they couldn't get themselves out. Families, both his and hers, were both helping, but you know what we could, but it just wasn't enough.
4 members of a family were found shot to death in their home in Harvey in an apparent murder-suicide. Jefferson Parish.
It's unfortunate that some people don't survive the suburbs.
Deputies responded to that home in Harvey this morning and just found a horrific scene.
And as you just heard there, 4 people were dead, and the 911 call that led them there would provide some really crucial information. In fact, some of the only information in this case. Mike Ferris joins us now from Harvey with that story.
And Sharice and Katie, it was just before 8 o'clock this morning when Jefferson Parish got a 911 call. It was short and it was from a man. And he said, quote, "We can't live like this anymore, and you'll find 4 bodies when you get here." Neighbors say this is a quiet area in Harvey. Some families have lived here for decades.
It's always a quiet area, you know? The community is shocked. After this happens so many times, you shouldn't be shocked. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys help your boy. Smash that like button, and also make sure you guys share this video out. Because for people like Tony Esposito, you know what I'm saying, those trolls that live in the suburbs, part of the merch is going to be geared towards your dollars. Because exclusively, only on the Blacklight Revelations Network, we will be having bug out bags and surviving the suburbs bundle packages, seasoning, bulletproof vests, double packs of Kool-Aid, and everything that the average normal human being might need to not only tolerate, but survive the suburbs.
But what happened Thursday morning was something they could have never imagined.
It's tragic, and it's scary because, you know, who wants to hear something bad happen?
Jefferson Parish deputies say inside this home in disrepair on 11th and Curtis, an entire family was found dead. Parents Tim and Joanna Regas, her 20-year-old son, Eric Thornbloom, and their special needs 13-year-old son, Timothy Regas.
The house is pretty deplorable inside itself, but there's some notes along with weapons that indicate that looks like it's going to be some type of murder-suicide, either by one or by two.
Tim Regas' sister, sister-in-law, and niece say the family was dealing with financial problems.
He wasn't working the last almost 3 years, and he did get a job recently, and he had to lose it because she was having medical issues, and they had an autistic son, and he had to be here to take care of him because he wasn't socially where a lot of people could take care of him.
They said they and Joanna's family were helping financially, but before going in the home today, they didn't realize just how bad it was.
Depression it's terrible. He couldn't pull himself out of the depression. Medically, she was going through some things.
They don't know how they're going to bury 4 relatives.
I have no idea how this is going to happen.
We don't know.
I just have no idea.
We're going to do whatever we can.
Now, we have a GoFundMe link with this story on WWLTV.com if you would like to help with the burial. Also, the autopsies, I'm told by the JP coroner, will be tomorrow, and the sheriff says he's going to let the coroner's office determine if there was 1 shooter or 2. Now, both parents are in their mid-40s, and the father, Tim, worked for the St. Charles Parish Sheriff's Office years ago. Also, we're told that the school was notified this morning by someone that the 13-year-old was not going to be there today.
So there's that. Another case of familicide. You know what I'm saying? Another case of familicide. So what we have now are some older cases, all right? Still interesting nonetheless, because they set up a pattern, okay? And what they'll do is they'll establish a pattern for another case that's current that we're going to talk about. So as we watch these, what I want you guys to do is tell me what you notice about them immediately. Okay. What do you immediately notice about these? There'll be 3 videos. Each of these videos about 3 minutes long.
North Texas daycare worker facing felony charges for a violent attack on a child.
Yeah, that assault was on video.
Quick question. Who attacks children? Now, when it comes to the Manhattan Institute and Christopher Rufo and Ron DeSantis and all of these conservatives and all of these people, you know, one of the reasons I was just actually in between the time when I ended the last stream and when this one started, I was watching the video that Lisa Cabrera put up, I want to say maybe about a day ago, and it was about the outlawing of Black history in South Carolina schools. Okay. And I find that interesting because like I've been saying, right? Like I've been saying, how many white children has Black history killed? How many white children has Black history injured or harmed physically? Now what we'll do is we'll look at some harm physically.
All new at 4:30, CBS 11's JD Miles joining us live now from outside the little country preschool and daycare in Haslett. JD?
Ken, I spoke to someone inside. They told me they are cooperating with authorities but couldn't comment any further. This all came to light when a 4-year-old's mother demanded to see security camera video because no one could explain how her son got serious facial injuries. Now,
hold on real quick. Y'all say peep the newscaster's last name? Oh. Man, I'd get that changed if I was him. You guys see his last name? Thank goodness his first name ain't Chester. Shout out to Genesis's Lazy Duck. Trick question. Black education don't, but white people do kill people. That's a fact. If you guys agree with Genesis's Lazy Duck over there on Twitch, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Yeah, that's and let's just all take a moment to reflect on the warning sign. Let me now to all the ladies who are in here. I think we only have Carla and Val. You know what I'm saying? So all 2 ladies who are in here. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker hasn't made it in here yet. Would you all be interested in a man with that kind of last name? What if like he gave you his business card? Would you give it back to him and say not interested, or what would you guys do?
Daycare worker facing felony charges for a violent attack on a child.
Yeah, that assault was on video. All new at 4:30, CBS 11's JD Miles joining us live now from outside the little country preschool and daycare in Haslett. JD?
Ken, I spoke to someone inside. They told me they are cooperating with authorities but couldn't comment any further. This all came to light when a 4-year-old's mother demanded to see security camera video because no one could explain how her son got serious facial injuries. Now, this is the video that's pretty hard to watch. It shows an adult straddling the...
Now, who does this? You guys see this? I want you guys to pay very close attention to this.
Now, this is the video that's pretty hard to watch. It shows an adult straddling a small boy on the floor and repeatedly slapping and pinching him. It's even harder to watch when you're that child's mother.
Now, if you're going to a daycare like that and you have staff members doing stuff like that, it makes a lot of sense why these kids go to school and shoot everybody up, doesn't it?
Kinsey Andreessen.
I mean, she just threw him around like a rag doll.
When you're that child's mother, Kinsey Andreessen.
I mean, what the heck?
It's even harder to watch when you're that child's mother, Kinsey Andreessen. She obtained the video of her son being assaulted inside the Little Country daycare and preschool in Hazlet. It was recorded on November 6th when he came home with welts and bruises that she was told were caused by him acting up. Authorities investigated and arrested Tracy Ludwig for felony child abuse. Andreessen says she can only wonder if her son was assaulted more than...
Val said she would probably... Val said she'd probably try to keep from laughing and politely leave the conversation. You mean you wouldn't be like, boy, what's up with your last name? Is that your real last name? You mean you wouldn't do that? Shout out to Val. You know what I'm saying? Val's a good one. Man, if that was me, I'd be at the bar somewhere. Hey, y'all see this motherfucker's credit card? Yeah, facts. I gotta agree with DeAndre. Daycare is expensive as hell. She would have to see me. Yeah, she would have to see me. You know what I'm saying? And like for real, when the last time you saw critical race theory throw somebody's kid around like a little rag doll? Have you ever seen that?
Than once in his 2 years at the school before she removed him.
Whenever we were watching the video, outrage just went over me. I mean, just to see your son sitting there being beat by a teacher that you pay.
Now, this is in Texas. This is Governor Abbott's state. You know what I'm saying? Where the priority is to make sure that we maintain the mental integrity of white children because critical race theory is just so abusive and traumatizing. And also, a lot of this kind of stuff happens in Florida. And remember, Florida is where woke goes to die. Apparently, Florida classrooms and Florida daycares are also where your kids go to die.
To care for your kid while you're at work. It's just gut-wrenching. It makes you sick.
And Reason says she likely would have never known about the abuse if not for a teacher here who quietly alerted her.
All right, so we at 1:30. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker just entered the room. Shout out to Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker. You see this guy's name right here? If somebody with that name came up to you and wanted to holler at you and you were single, what would you tell them? What's going on? My name is Ken Molestina, señorita. No. Take you and both of your hands somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? That name got red flags all over it.
Now, she believes that the daycare management concealed this assault, and that's why she posted the video to social media and also plans to file a lawsuit. Live in Hazlet, JD Miles, CBS 11 News.
All right, JD, thank you very much. You should know this isn't the first complaint about discipline over at Little Country Daycare.
Hey, hold on real quick, y'all, because y'all remember when TD was talking about the quality of the video? I don't know why I keep going to like 144p. Like, that's weird.
Preschool. Our investigator, Alana Otler, found the center was issued 4 violations earlier this year. Alana?
According to this inspection report, a child began
I said the
vomiting
same
after
thing.
getting force-fed by an employee.
I said the same thing. Could you imagine if his name was Chester? I don't know why it just automatically comes on like that. It just automatically comes on with that shit at 144. It should look like it's just like an old school cell phone. Like 56, what was it, 56K internet? You have to have it on data saver by default. It might be on data saver by default. I'm cheap like that, but we got unlimited, you know what I'm saying, gigabytes on just regular internet. So I don't I didn't go in and change that. I don't know why it would be like that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ghost Walker.
That's when an employee yelled at the child, tossed over a towel, and told the child to clean it up. 2 of 4 violations issued back in May were considered high risk. While staff told the child's parents about the incident, they did not tell the state. That oversight resulted in another violation and a 4th for missing paperwork. State inspectors gave the daycare a week and a half to fix the issues, and they said they did. Administrators acknowledged they can't force a child to eat. And the next month, inspectors noted employees interacting with kids in a, quote, positive manner, unquote. In Texas, licensed child care facilities must be inspected at least once a year by Health and Human Services. If centers face violations, that triggers more inspections. And in the past 3 years, Little Country has faced 9 inspections. Back in 2015, the daycare was issued 3 violations over record-keeping issues. And you can always check inspection records for any daycare licensed in Texas. We've put that on our website, cbsdfw.com, under links and numbers. Today, an employee at Little Country said they cooperated with the state and would not be commenting further.
Uh-oh. So now that's case number 1. All right. Count them. And now remember, these that I'm showing you guys are old. Okay. These that I'm showing you guys are old. This one takes place in Florida. Now, I want you guys to remember, what do you all notice about these situations?
And now to a crime on camera. Police in the Tampa area arresting an employee at a daycare for child abuse just days after the daycare owner was charged with the same crime.
I mean, it be going down at these daycare facilities.
And now to a crime on camera. Police in the Tampa area arresting an employee at a daycare for child abuse just days after the daycare owner was charged with the same crime. The 2 women were seen forcefully pushing and pulling a child's head and neck. The owner was taken into custody following a 2-month investigation.
And authorities determined that she was physically abusive with the children in her care. Alex Finney at our news now with the latest developments on this one. Alex.
Calvin and Nicole, Rong Lu is the owner at the Children's Land of Imagination Academy. This is in Odessa. She was charged with child abuse last week, and now an employee, Tara Baloo, has also been arrested. Now we're showing you this video here, and you can see Baloo roughly pulling off the clothes of one child and then forcing the child to lie.
Is her name Baloo? Did they say her name was Baloo? Like that bear from the Jungle Book? She sure as hell handling them damn kids like she out of the Jungle Book. Hold on real quick.
One child and then forcing the child.
Hold on. What?
Roughly pulling. Employee, Tara Baloo.
Tara Baloo. Isn't Baloo that bear from the Jungle Book? Genesis is Lazy Duck, and DSA may be onto something. It's those bare necessities. I'ma toss this kid like a rag doll next to me and beat him and hope his parents don't see. It's those simple bare necessities, those sweet old bare necessities. I'm just gonna beat the shit out of this kid. And then they just whistle while they work and shit. You know what I'm saying? Just having a whole little musical going on, tossing the kid back and forth. Then the whole daycare starts singing, it's the simple bare necessities, those sweet old bare necessities. We'll beat the shit out of the kid right next to me. It's those simple bare necessities, those good old bare necessities. That shit don't make no damn sense.
Has also been arrested. Now we're showing you this video.
Oh yeah, she take the kid and spin it on her finger like a basketball. Because remember, Baloo was on Tailspin too. Spin it, won't you? Spin it, won't you? Spin it, won't you? Spin it. I'm always showing my age. Every time I go on Just Talking with TD and Rob, and I gotta turn the damn camera on, and y'all see all that gray in my beard, I show my age. Oh yeah, yeah. I used to like the Disney shit, you know what I'm saying? Darkwing Duck and all that, you know what I'm saying? I liked DuckTales. Oh woo!
Video here, and you can see Baloo roughly pulling off the clothes of one child and then forcing the child to lie on their stomach. She's seen trying to hold him down using the weight of her leg. Police say just a half hour earlier, the woman's boss, Rong Lu, used the same tactics to try and get a child to take a nap. The child is seen profusely just flailing and trying
So
to.
she's trying to choke the kid out. I'm gonna put your ass to sleep one way or another. Like, for real? Really? Bet your ass fall asleep after this. Like, really? Shout out to the old gang. You know what I'm saying? That's why Twister said, keep it pimping like an old man. You know what I'm saying? Because he know what the deal is.
To get out from beneath her. Both women were arrested for child abuse. And through the investigation,
This woman right here name is wrong. This woman right here name is Wrong Lu. Oh, she was dead wrong. Terrible Lu and Wrong Lu. I wonder if she related. I wonder if she got a cousin named Wrong Way. I don't like Captain Planet because he's a hero. You know what I'm saying? I don't like heroes. The Wrong Lou. Hey, tell me why Terrible Lou look like the Juggernaut, though. You know what I'm saying? Wrong Lou was probably doing. Never mind. I ain't even about to say nothing because they had slapped some kind of hate crime charges on me.
the Hillsborough County Sheriff says he's learned that Lou is known to treat her students harshly and roughly. The sheriff saying it is sickening to hear those responsible for dozens of children would do something like this. Nicole.
It really is disgusting. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's disgusting. Whoa. Hold on real quick. Man, it's too much to count. Wait a minute. Hold up. I was actually just about to leave out of there. And I mean, the next suggested video was another case of child abuse at a damn daycare center. Now, here's my question. What kind of crime does this constitute as? Look at this. Somebody come look at this. This is a sheriff camera. Oh, no, they did not. Did you see that? You're not supposed to pick up a baby like that. They out they damn mind. Look at this. What in the hell? And I think that's a little black baby. Look at that. And just threw it down on the ground. What the? What? Look at him. Yeah, that's a little black baby right there. What the hell she call herself? Did she just wake up? They got the nerve to call us lazy. Look at her laying her big ass down on the job. Look at that. Look at that. Did y'all see that? Hold on real quick, man. Look at her laying there like a beached whale and her alarm just woke her up. It's not nap time for your stupid ass. It's nap time for the kids. Look at that. Look at this. Look. Ding, ding, ding. Wake your ass up. Oh, no, she did. She just hit the baby. Did you? No, yeah, facts. Well, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, Tone. That's why I called it a it. You know what I'm saying? You know, nowadays you're not allowed to misgender. Yeah, I agree, Lloyd. I agree. Look at this. She's smacking the baby, spanking it, jerking it around. Them kids probably scared for their life. All right. So now here is a Florida one. Okay. Know your pronouns or get canceled. Super facts. This took place in Florida right here. Okay. And again, note the pattern of this. Again, this is an old story, but again, these are the stories that they don't put in the national news. You get the privilege of seeing this exclusively on Fox 13. So when they make these stories, quote unquote, exclusively for the local news, exclusively is a farce to keep a story within a certain area. These are the stories that don't make national headlines, which is why these people are under the impression that they don't commit crimes ever.
2 daycare workers are facing charges. One of them.
There you go. Get a good look.
Is accused of abusing 2 babies. Deputies say the abuse resulted in fractures in a baby's leg.
So that was the camera that we were watching before. That particular case. So this is the same thing as the last one, just with the news story behind it.
The incidents were recorded on video at Time of Wonder Academy in Tampa. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer is joining us now live at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Aaron, you spoke with the co-owner of this facility today. Tell us what she said.
Well, Kelly, just like many of us, she couldn't believe her eyes as she watched that video, and she is glad that the people involved were arrested swiftly. At 8 a.m. on September 8th, a security camera at Time of Wonder Daycare in Tampa recorded a worker lifting a 1-year-old out of a motorized swing by his wrists and placing him hard onto the floor.
And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not smashed a like, we got 25 people watching. Shout out to everybody that's watching. If you guys could help your boy out by making sure that you guys leave a like and share the video to your social media, that would be great. All right.
Investigators say doing so caused the child to fracture his tibia and fibula, 2 bones in his leg.
I can't believe somebody can do that one with a child.
Neither can Hillsborough deputies, but as surveillance video shows, it didn't stop there. At 11 a.m., detectives say Yamirka Menendez hit that same child in the head while he was in the electronic swing. Later that same day, Menendez is accused of slapping a 4-month-old and yanking that child's leg during feeding time. Bianca DeAndrea, the daycare's co-owner, was on the verge of tears as she discussed the video.
I spend more hours with these children than the parents.
Honestly, I think that this woman is only upset that she's in trouble. I don't think that she cared. And also pay very close attention to how those are some Latino women abusing those black kids. Now, here's my question. Had that been done to some AAPI people, would they have considered that a hate crime? If you guys think that they would have, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that they would have, give me a thumbs down.
That video is a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
The sheriff's office was notified after the 1-year-old's mother took the child to the hospital because of the leg injuries. Menendez faces child abuse charges.
Now, her last name is Menendez. This person right here. So that's one of those Cameron Diaz Menendezes that don't exist. You get to benefit from being considered a quote-unquote brown person. The only thing brown is that mole in the middle of her forehead. You know what I'm saying?
Understand that we are human, but I cannot understand that you are and behave like an animal.
Milagros Rodriguez is the woman who was in the daycare room with Menendez. She's charged with failure to report the abuse. DeAndrea is furious with the workers.
Of course
She furious because they messing up her money. She don't care nothing about them kids, but she big mad that they messed up the money, though. You messing up my bag. She don't care nothing about them kids. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man, Carlton Way. What's good with it, bro?
I feel embarrassed because it's like it happened in my house.
She says she still trusts the rest of her employees, and she hopes the parents of other children there do too.
You guys, parents, you are my eyes. Any little thing I have to know because we are here to protect children.
Well, y'all ain't doing a good job.
And Diaria says that both women passed strict background checks and had no prior arrests. She says that she plans to rework these cameras, Kelly, to try to make them be.
She's assuming that her business is still going to be open. Talking about she going to rework some cameras. You better hope your business is still open. You might not have the option of reworking them cameras, or you might have to put them cameras somewhere else. I agree. I agree with Cameron. And I agree with, hey, Mr. Knickerbocker. Carlton Way said the previous woman with that hole in her head looked like Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's facts. And clearly she acts not only like she has a hole in her head, but probably like how Marjorie Taylor Greene acts, which would be like someone with a hole in their head.
To try to allow parents to be able to access them remotely so that they can keep their eyes on their kids as well.
Well, we're thinking about the babies, and I can't, the video is just so hard to watch. And all right, Aaron Mesmer.
So that's interesting. There was a rooster in the background. I don't know if you guys happen to notice that. So the reason why I showed all of those is because what we've done is, we've seen a pattern in different things like that, right? And now, somebody could say, well, you're talking about you're talking about particular people, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So if I'm not talking about particular people, let's talk about one person in particular, right? DSA says that it's probably still going to be open. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. If you guys agree with DSA, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. This is interesting. This was a story that was published on January 27th. Georgia daycare owner arrested after allegedly assaulting 5 children. The Georgia woman is being held without bail. Okay, so remember that. I want you guys to remember that. Type it in the comments for me. This woman was held without bail. Okay. So now here it says a Georgia home daycare owner accused of assaulting 5 children she was supposed to be caring for was arrested on Wednesday. Goldia Marie Lipsky, who is 63, was arrested after detectives with the Paulding County Sheriff's Office received an anonymous tip pointing officers to a video evidence which clearly shows the alleged assault taking place on January 12th. Officials say that 5 victims range in age from 8 months old to 3 years old. So imagine how small an 8-month-old baby is. Okay. Goldia Marie Lipsky. That's her right there. You guys, that's her right there. So now these are the crimes that don't make the national news. And we got to ask ourselves the question, well, why aren't these crimes making the news? The victims were all allegedly assaulted in the home daycare center, deputies said. She was initially charged with 1 count of aggravated assault, 2 counts of first-degree cruelty to children, and 5 counts of third-degree cruelty to children. Okay. Lipsky was taken to the Paulding County Jail where she's being held without bond. Okay. So she's being held without bond, right? That's the main thing to take away from this. This came out on January 27th, and she's being held without bond. Okay. Now, if she's being held without bond, then my question is, how did this happen? Georgia daycare owner arrested for second time in 2 weeks after allegedly assaulting children. Now this article here came out on February 11th. So now my question is, how the hell did she get out of jail the first time? Because that time that I read about was the first time. And she was being held without bond. So how did she get out to get arrested again? The owner of a Georgia daycare was arrested for the second time in 2 weeks after investigators allegedly found additional acts of abuse against children in her daycare. Goldia Marie Lipsky, who is 63, was initially arrested on January 26th after the Paulding County Sheriff's Department got an anonymous tip pointing officers to a video which clearly shows the woman assaulting children on January the 12th. Now, if there's a video that clearly shows the woman assaulting people, how the hell did she get out? That woman held without bond, so the parents can't give her a 2-piece. Facts. Protection. but she was held without bond, and then somehow magically she's out to get arrested again. How does that work? Anybody know? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not smashed that like button, please make sure you guys take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you're not subscribed, hit that bell. How does this work? So now here it says deputies said that Lipsky operated Reach for the Sky Academy. So she would reach for the sky and then bring her hand down across them kids that she had there's face. LLC Home Daycare in Hiram, Georgia. An earlier press release states that there are 5 victims ranging in age from 8 months old to 3 years old. All right, so there she go again. That's her again, who magically got out of jail. Now, I don't know if the kids were black or not. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, because they don't show any information about the kids. But clearly they gotta be, because when you harm black kids, there's not really a consequence ever. And we can reference that situation that took place in Michigan when that Asian man shot that little black boy in the arm and he only got a $10,000 bail. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised at all. So now here it says she bonded out on January 27th. Wait a minute, though. Now, is the article going to go into how she ended up getting bond when she was being held without bond? How do you bond out when you're held without bond? Anybody know? How does one accomplish that? How do you do that? How do you bond out while being held without bond? I know y'all got the answer. You know what I'm saying? Shit crazy. Facts to everything that everybody's saying in the comment section. Now, here goes my question. How come the article didn't go into this? Genesis is lazy says they can request bail after sentencing, I believe. And that could possibly have happened. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker says, look at the language. If they were white, they would use the word babies and toddlers to reflect the seriousness. Saying kids makes it look like 10 to 12-year-olds. I agree with that. Good observation, hey, Mr. Knickerbocker. If you guys agree with hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Yeah, that was my understanding of how that works. That was definitely my understanding. So now here it says, but investigators obtained a search warrant for Lipsky's home, where investigators found surveillance video depicting additional acts of abuse against multiple children over the course of a 7-day period. Lipsky was initially charged with 1 count of aggravated assault, 2 counts of first-degree cruelty to children, and 5 counts of third-degree cruelty to children. Police announced on Thursday that she's being this should be charged, but as you guys can see, changed here, right? It's supposed to say charged, but as you guys can see, it says changed. Yeah, and that's big facts, Torian. I agree. If you guys agree with Torian, give me a thumbs up. Remember, they aged black children. They said Tamir Rice was 18 when he was 12. They tried to say Mike Brown was in his 20s when he was 17. Yeah, they just blatantly lie on black children. I agree. So now here, I don't know how much we can trust this, because it says that Lipsky is being held at the Paulding County Jail on no bond. But one thing that we know about Paulding County Jail is that when people are held at Paulding County Jail without bond, they somehow find themselves back out on the street. So now here it says, according to the sheriff's department, detectives are working to access more footage from the camera system in order to see if there are more victims. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more victims. Like, that wouldn't surprise me one bit. Would you guys be surprised if there was more victims? So now let me see what we got here. Hold on real quick. So Let me see. Let's see. Hold on real quick. Let's see. So this is interesting, right? Like, I could have used this story for that Bad Girls Gone Worse series that I have, right? But I'm not gonna. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this particular story for CrimeCast, because this falls into a category of crime that this channel focuses on. Shout out to the freaks, because this woman is one of them. New York City dominatrix Victoria Nazarova's victim looked like a vegetable after eating poisoned cheesecake, according to someone's sister. So now this happened on February 1st of 2023. All right. The eyelash stylist who was allegedly fed a slice of poisoned cheesecake by a Russian dominatrix looked like a vegetable and could barely move her eyes when her sister found her, the sibling testified in a Queens court on Wednesday. Yeah. So so there's that. You know what I'm saying? Speaking through a Russian interpreter, Irina Koschenko, who is 35, describes finding her older sister, Olga Tvisk, nearly passed out in her Forest Hills home, with scores of pills littering the floor of her second-floor bedroom. She was feeling very bad, and she just looked at me. She looked like a vegetable, Kozachenko told jurors. She was extremely tired. She could barely move her eyes. It looked like she was asleep. Her sister tried to communicate with her, but couldn't really move, Koschenko testified. I also noticed near the bed, under the bed, and also near the chest, there were pills, she said. They were white color and round. I collected them and put them aside. It was either a bag or a napkin, something. I put them aside. So this was her. I think this was the woman who was poisoned, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? So this is some weird shit. Prosecutors have accused Victoria Nazarova, a 47-year-old Russian-born dominatrix, of poisoning her look-alike pal in a warped attempt to steal her identity. You'd think that something like this would be in the news, but it's not. Kvisk, or however you say this, previously testified that Nazarova came to her home in August of 2016 under the facade of desperately needing an eyelash touch-up, then fed her a slice of cheesecake, prosecutors allege, which was laced with the powerful Russian tranquilizer phenazepam. So she out here using KGB poisons. You know what I'm saying? Here, try this cheesecake. Yeah, she do got a strong face. That face look like, man, that face, you look like you could use it for a speed bag and she would still just be standing there. You know what I'm saying? Tvisk also told the court she began feeling ill about 20 minutes after eating the dessert. Eventually, she threw up and lost consciousness. Authorities say Nazarova snatched Tvisk's passport and thousands of dollars in cash, then tried to frame her by scattering pills around her lingerie-clad body to make it look like a suicide attempt. Why was somebody just there in lingerie? Why was she just, she was like, she just happened to be there and her attire of choice was just lingerie because that's just normal. You know what I'm saying? The alleged victim's sister backed up these allegations Wednesday, telling the court that her sister's Ukrainian passport, there you go, New York City. There you go, New York City. Her Ukrainian passport and American ID were missing from their usual hiding spot when she arrived. Kozachenko said she flew to New York from Ukraine as soon as she heard her sister was feeling ill, and arrived 2 days later to find her in a distressing state. Yeah, because she was just able to get out of Ukraine with it being bombed and shit. You know what I'm saying? That it's not like they're going through some shit right now, and it's just easy to fly out of Ukraine. But okay, sure. As soon as she found out something was going down with her sister, she just packed up and bounced, dodged a couple missiles, and came over here. Okay. Yeah, facts. Shout out to the passport sisters, and the undocumented bros. You know what I'm saying? Taking over the streets. She brought Svisk to the hospital, but her sister continued to struggle after being released the next day. Koschenko said she felt Svisk had to hold her sister up so she can go to the bathroom. I was feeding her, and sometimes I could witness her losing consciousness, and she would sort of falling to the side, Koschenko said, choking up. So I tried to be with her all the time to not let her fall. Nazarova, who is also wanted in Russia for allegedly drugging and murdering her neighbor, denied the poisoning in a 2017 jailhouse interview with the Post, calling the ordeal, quote unquote, simply a misunderstanding. You know what I'm saying? Calling it a misunderstanding. Somebody misunderstood something. Yeah, she misunderstood that she shouldn't have ate that cake. The last time I saw Olga, she was not feeling good. She said she either ate something or got food poisoning, Nazarova said at the time. On Wednesday, the daughter of the Russian woman Nazarova is accused of murdering in 2014, also took the stand, telling jurors she confronted the dominatrix during a police sting after her mother's gruesome death. Nadiza Ford said she flew to Russia when her mom, Alla Askasingo, who suddenly fallen ill with what seemed like a cold, stopped responding to her calls and messages. On October 5th, 2014, Ford said she called her mom millions of times. I texted, called through Skype, I called direct, Ford said. I tried any way to reach her. There was no success. She then called Nazarova, whose mom had once described her as nice neighbor and who Ford had played tour guide to in the Big Apple in 2013. Nazarova said she'd seen Aleksinko a day earlier, Ford testified. Ford left work and went to Russia, where she eventually found out that her mom had died and that her house had been robbed. Everything, the family gold, bags, everything was missing, from the perfume, toothbrush, toothpaste, money, her credit cards, her wallet, her passport, everything, Ford told the court. It was absolutely wiped clean. Ford and her brother went to the police, who arranged the sting. The plan was simple. Plainclothes cops would sit and watch from an unmarked car while Ford confronted Nazarova at the home. Ford walked up and hugged Nazarova hard, not in an affectionable way. She asked a question, something along the lines of, "Did you kill my mother?" When I asked this question and squeezed her tight, she started maybe choking a little bit, and she pushed away and ran upstairs to her apartment, Ford testified. The police chased her upstairs, where they arrested Nazarova and questioned her and released her. Ford stayed in Russia for another 6 months. When she came back to America, she tried contacting Nazarova over and over. Ford said she only got one response: "I told everything to the police." She broke down and wept after she left the witness stand. The prosecution also plans to call a star witness, a Queens man who claims Nazarova drugged him after they met on a Russian dating site in 2016. He woke up 3 days later in a Columbia Presbyterian hospital, the district attorney said. Nazarova faces up to 25 years in prison if convicted of multiple murder, burglary, and other charges in the Queens case. So she out here drugging folks and taking their money. What do you guys think about that? This article here came out on February of 2023. Now, this is something that you would think that you would hear in the mainstream media. But for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? I guess it's not that important. I guess it's just not really that important. You know what I'm saying? So there was a guy who preyed on underage girls on Snapchat. and he's now going to be getting 25 years in a federal prison. Man who preyed on underage girls on Snapchat is sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. This happened on January 31st of 2023. An Iowa man who requested images from and sent images to underage girls via the social media app Snapchat was sentenced to 300 months in prison for production of CP and transfer of obscene materials to minors. Jacob John Preschel, who is 28 and he's from North Liberty, Iowa, was ordered to pay $10,000 under the Justice for Victims of Trafficking Act and $3,000 under the Amy, Vicky, and Andy CP Victim Assistance Act, which is the minimum amount a court may order. So they gave this individual the minimum, which is something that people should note. And as far as this name goes, I don't think in this article they have a picture of this individual. So we'll just ask Jacob John Preschel. Do you guys think that was a PC guy? If you guys think that it was, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that it was, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to Chili C. What up with it? I don't think so, Toria. So now here it says the accused will also be required to serve 7 years of supervised release following his prison term. Authorities were alerted to the activities of Preschel after the parent of an underage victim called the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children tip line. The parent found sexually explicit content between the young girl and the man on the child's cell phone. Preschel came into contact with the victim through Snapchat and asked for nude images and videos of the child during a period of speaking with her for 4 months. The man also sent the victim images of his genitals. Authorities found after seizing his cell phone that Preschel had been communicating with several other minor females via Snapchat, noting that he'd acquired CP through Telegram and other communication file sharing apps. The NCMC notified Nashville law enforcement, who then identified the man and referred the situation to Iowa law enforcement. The Joint Forensic Analyst Cyber Team and the Nashville Police Department investigated the case. Preschel is the second Iowa man to be sentenced for CP in just 1 week. So again, surviving the suburbs. You might want to get your kids an analog phone. I think we'll have that as one of the things that are merch once we get this channel to 1,000 subscribers. Analog phones for children. Because when you live in the suburbs, smartphones are a deadly access. You know what I'm saying? A Des Moines man was recently sentenced to 20 years in prison for knowingly receiving CP. Both cases were prosecuted as a part of an initiative called Project Safe Childhood, a Department of Justice initiative started in 2006 that is intended to combat the growing epidemic of child sexual exploitation and abuse. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Where is that a particular epidemic? Anybody have any idea where this might be an epidemic at? United States Attorney Richard D. Westphal has made announcements regarding both cases, the former of which involved several years of joint investigations between different law enforcement agencies spanning several years. Okay, so yeah, let me ask you guys a question. What does the population makeup of Iowa look like? What does Iowa look like? Anybody know? Now, I don't know what went on here because I didn't read this article, but we're going to definitely find out. Genesis says Iowa looks like vanilla. Chili says it's Isu if there are no names or photos. Shout out to Tori and Rain. Big facts. Carlson says mostly PC. Facts. And that's not politically correct. Oh man. So there was some issues that went down in St. Louis, and it was recorded on a ring cam. Criminal charges were filed after the St. Louis family's ring video went viral. Okay. It scared my family. It scared me, said Suarez, who posted the videos. Okay. For more than a year, Fatima Suarez said her family's St. Louis home was repeatedly visited by a woman who allegedly insulted her family, stole their mail, and damaged their property. Video footage captured by the family's Ring doorbell camera allegedly shows a woman yelling into the camera, going through their mail, and hurling racist remarks at them. Let's continue. It scared my family. It scared me, she said. I've cried. It was really stressful to see her keep coming back. Suarez, whose family is of Mexican descent, posted the footage on TikTok, where it received millions of views. On Tuesday, the city's circuit attorney office said in a statement that it elevated the warrant application related to this case on Wednesday. Judy Klein of St. Louis was criminally charged on 3 counts: burglary, property damage, and unlawful use of a weapon. According to a probable cause statement sent to ABC News by the circuit attorney's office, ring camera footage shows Klein holding a hammer and yelling, "What the hell are you doing in my home? Get out, B. Get out. It's my home." So there you go, right there. Suarez said her family doesn't know Klein. We've never seen her in our lives, she said. Suarez credits social media in spurring the police to take action. Now, isn't that terrible? That if it wasn't for them posting this on social media, no action would have been taken. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Genesis. How much you want to bet the only reason anything was done was because people saw it? Super facts. If you guys agree with Genesis, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. And yeah, you guys can see Val and Carla are putting the statistics of what goes of who lives in Iowa in the chat. So it's probably a safe assumption to say that that individual from that last video, from that last article, was PC. I've seen similar stories on TikTok going on, and I thought that maybe that would help my family out as well, she said. But I never knew it would blow up like that, and it did. So I'm thankful for everyone who made it viral, because now there's going to hopefully be an action taken. So this is her right here. A thug. This is a criminal thug attempting to intimidate and harass people and using racist tactics. But remember, racism doesn't exist. It's right in the Natural History Museum between the Tyrannosaurus and the Brontosaurus. Now, when it comes to hate crimes, here's my question, ladies and gentlemen. Who commits the largest amount of hate crimes in the United States? Is there a significant amount when it comes to a certain population that commits these hate crimes? If you ask me, the same community that commits the majority of hate crimes is the same community that commits the majority of familicide, child abuse, and also sexual crimes. If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. And yeah, I agree. She looks like Leatherface. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, according to the probable cause statement, Klein went to the back of the house on January 5th of 2022 and used a hammer to break in through the basement door window by breaking the glass on the door. Suarez said her father was in the house with her sister, who was 4 years old at the time. Klein smashed a glass door on a drying machine, the statement said. The victim stated that once inside, Klein yelled insults at him while holding the hammer over her head. A booking data report from the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department showed that Klein was arrested that day and was charged with aggravated burglary and property damage. I always call the cops, and all the times that I call them, they only kept her for like 72 hours, and then she was released, Suarez alleged. That's why she had the opportunity to keep coming back. So now here's the thing, right? Pay very close attention to how ABC News says that Suarez alleged this. That would have been very easy for ABC News to get an actual answer on, because all they had to do was get a FOIA request for the arrest record, and it would have shown whether that was true or not, right? But they didn't. They said alleged. So that tells you something. Klein was also served with an ex parte order of protection involving a petitioner who resides at the same address as this incident. The probable cause statement said, this matter is scheduled for an adult abuse hearing on February 15th of 2023. Suarez said Klein has visited the home multiple times, including last week. The probable cause statement said that she was reported to have returned to the home multiple times. Even though Klein has charges against her, Suarez said her family still fears that she will return. So this is, I mean, this is kind of terrorizing somebody. You know what I'm saying? The St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department told ABC News Thursday that Klein is not currently in custody. How do you do this, get caught on a Ring camera, and you're not currently in custody? What do you guys think about this lady not being in custody? Here's the question for you guys. What do you guys find more fascinating on this channel? The crimes that are being committed or the punishments that are being given out? Because I find all of it fascinating. I find it all fascinating. It's just wild. You know what I'm saying? Now, in Iowa, because it's going down in Iowa, right? There was a man who faked his death to evade police for 6 years. And he's sentenced to 20 years for receiving CP. Now, this is the second man in Iowa that first article was talking about. Okay. Iowa man who faked his death to evade police for 6 years, sentenced to 20 years for receiving CP. How do you evade police for 6 years? Oh, look, there you here's some more. Look at this. It's just nonstop. It's just nonstop. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys think that the kind of crimes that are committed that we go over on CrimeCast, the reason that they occur is because when you have the privilege, like Professor Black Truth says, genetic immunity from law, to be immune from law, if you've never dealt with consequences, you're more likely to commit worse and more vile crimes. If that's true, give me a thumbs up. If that's not true, give me a thumbs down. Okay. Iowa man who faked his death to evade police for 6 years is sentenced to 20 years for receiving CP. A Des Moines, Iowa man, who had been fleeing police for years has been sentenced to 20 years in prison for knowingly receiving CP, the Justice Department in the Southern District of Iowa has revealed. Jacob Chance Greer was also ordered to pay $12,000 to the victim of the crime and will be forced into a supervised release for 5 years following his prison term. Greer will also be required to register as a sex offender. In 2016, Greer was arrested on charges by Homeland Security, but was released while he awaited trial. A month later, authorities found his abandoned car alongside alongside with a suicide note near a lake. Approximately 6 years later, in 2022, the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force became aware of information that would soon lead to his arrest in Spanaway, Washington on April 4th of 2022. Greer attempted to avoid detection by storing illegal content online, as well as occasionally deleting files that were on his own devices. But he was found to have received, possessed, and distributed the disturbing evidence on the internet for several years. So while they were allowing this guy to roam free, he was still doing the same thing that he always does. He was still doing the same thing that he always does. Despite his methods, police found evidence of his receipt and trading of the illicit materials on numerous devices when they seized them from February of 2015 upon execution of a search warrant. United States Attorney commented on Greer's years of fleeing federal charges. Thanks to the dedicated efforts of our law enforcement partners, including the United States Marshals Fugitive Task Force, sex offender Jacob Greer failed in his attempts to avoid accountability for these serious charges involving exploitation of children, said attorney Richard D. Westfall. Yeah, that's if you look at it that way. If you look at it my way, you guys let him run around free for 6 years, which was even more of a danger because he was still doing the same things. Had they acted efficiently, it would have ended when he was arrested. You know what I'm saying? The Department of Justice used an initiative called Project Safe Childhood to prosecute the offender, an initiative to combat the growing quote-unquote epidemic of child sexual exploitation and abuse that started in 2006. As well, the investigation stemmed from Project Hydra, a 2014 joint task force initiative that involved Homeland Security investigations and the York and Ottawa Regional Police Services in Ontario, Canada, which targeted those who produce and distribute CP on the internet. That's disgusting. And what I find fascinating is that there's no specials about this. Nobody talks about how disgusting this is. You know what I'm saying? Here's something else that doesn't get talked about very often. We're going to listen to a press release of some real thug stuff that went on. Okay. So now this is a criminal enterprise, and shout out to my Sons of Anarchy fans.
Covert operations and surveillance, as well as federal wiretaps to collect evidence up and down the eastern seaboard and right here in eastern North Carolina. Christopher Baker was a prolific meth trafficker, trafficking over 260 kilos of highly pure methamphetamine with nearly 100% purity. Of those 260 odd kilos that he trafficked in the 2 years before his arrest, there's a photograph to my right of 5 kilograms of crystal methamphetamine on the back of a Honda that was part of this operation. Christopher Baker's network spanned the Carolinas. His network spanned the entire East Coast, but he was supplied by two main sources of crystal methamphetamine. First, directly from a cartel source in Atlanta, and second, from a white supremacist gang known as the Ghost-Faced Gangsters.
How many of you all knew about this? If you guys knew about this, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't know about this, give me a thumbs down. No such thing as white supremacists. No such thing as white criminality. No such things as RICO charges in this particular case. Let's run that back one more time.
Christopher Baker's network spanned the Carolinas. His network spanned the entire East Coast, but he was supplied by two main sources of crystal methamphetamine. First, directly from a cartel source in Atlanta, and second, from a white supremacist gang known as the Ghost-Faced Gangsters. Baker used guns and violence as tools of the trade to further his drug trafficking and advance his status in the pagans. guns seized by the ATF and the Raleigh.
Now, who's familiar with the Pagans? If you guys are familiar with the Pagans, give me a thumbs up. If you guys are not familiar with the Pagans, give me a thumbs down. All 1% motorcycle gangs are white supremacist gangs. They have bylaws that exclude them from accepting black members into their ranks. The Pagans are a 1% outlaw motorcycle gang. If I'm not mistaken, I think they might be part of what the FBI calls the Big Five. Similar to the Hells Angels, similar to the Outlaws, similar to the Banditos, similar to the Mongols. The kind of thing that Sons of Anarchy was based on.
Police department are on display here, including a Tech 9 handgun, a sawed-off shotgun, and 2 fully automatic machine guns. But our investigation did not stop with Baker. Also indicted among these 20 defendants include his Atlanta-based sources of supply. The 75-year sentence that Chief Judge Richard Myers imposed on Baker reflects Baker's violence, his propensity for violence.
Now, here's my question. How come they never talk about this on Fox News? As a matter of fact, why don't they talk about this on any news? Why do you guys think that is? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got 30 live viewers. Shout out and thank you to all 30 people that are watching. If everybody can take a moment and smash that like button, and also please share the video out to all of your subscribers, that would be awesome.
In his utter disregard for the law. In one example, an aspiring pagan known as a prospect was alleged to have stolen from another pagan. Baker ordered that the prospect be tortured and his fingers cut off with an electric saw.
What do you think about that? It's going down, isn't it? Man. This makes gangster rap sound inviting, doesn't it?
While he forced others to watch. Baker also ordered the killing of 2 people.
Facts. Shout out to Genesis's Lazy Duck. And they call everyone else savages. Savagery. Facts. Thugs. You know what I'm saying? So now there's a guy who's on trial right now. I can't think of what his name is, but he used to be a lawyer. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? I was watching some of the court footage of his trial, and it's extremely interesting. And I was thinking about possibly showing it on CRIMECAST, but those are really long. So if I was to show that, that would be the only thing that we would be talking about. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, throw some thumbs up, radiation emojis in the chat. If it's not something that you're interested in, go ahead and just give me a thumbs down. If I come across it again, if you guys are interested, you guys put in enough thumbs up, we'll definitely go over it. Very interesting.
Thankfully, unsuccessfully.
Yeah.
One
Yeah,
was
I think that's
rescued
it.
by the intervention.
I think that's it. Michael Aventati. I think that is indeed it, Torian. He stole a bunch of money from his law firm, if I'm not mistaken. And then he what else did he do? Didn't he kill his family too? That's another familicide, ain't it? Yeah, I agree. Makes gangster rap sounds like nursery rhymes. Facts. Yeah, so if you guys want to see that Michael Aventati trial, some of the footage that I can find, we definitely will check it out. We'll go over it.
Of Raleigh Police Department and the ATF, which put the potential victim into protective custody. ATF and the Raleigh Police Department should be commended for their incredible work in this investigation. Their officers and their agents put their lives on the line every day to keep the rest of us safe, and we all owe them a great debt of gratitude. As for Christopher Baker,
okay,
he's been stripped of his patches, stripped of his colors.
Now, wait a minute. Is that the blonde guy? His hair is like real blonde. That's who I'm talking about. That's who I'm talking about, Murdaugh. I'm not talking about Aventaddy. I'm talking about Murdaugh. That's the name. That's him right there, Carla. Yeah, you got it. That's who I'm talking about, Murdaugh. Murdaugh killed his family. There's another familicide. I did a short video on him on Blacklight Revelations 1, and I think I did a follow-up video on Blacklight Revelations 2 on him. But yeah, it's Aventaddy. Or I mean, it's Murdaugh. You know what I'm saying? I was watching some of the court footage from that. I think that we should look at that because it's very interesting.
Stripped of his motorcycle. He will never again feel the freedom of the open road that millions of law-abiding bikers enjoy every day. He will spend the rest of his life in federal prison. The Justice Department is sending a clear message to organized crime across this country and across the state of North Carolina.
They're sending a clear message that unless you're a rapper or unless you're R. Kelly, you can rest easy that we won't use the RICO statute to prosecute you. That's the message. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't, because we got 37 people watching, which is awesome for this channel, make sure you guys take a moment and smash that like button. We got 30 likes, so we just need 7 people to hit that like button.
If you sow violence and traffic drugs in the state of North Carolina, we will come for you and we will hold you to account. I want to highlight 2 elements of this case which illustrate a growing problem: meth and machine guns.
Eminem.
First,
Eminem, meth and machine guns. Now, let me ask you guys a question. This lawyer here says that this is a growing problem. Now, here's my question. In what community is this problem growing in? And how come we haven't heard any primetime specials about it? Where's the New York Times articles about it? Where's the Washington Post special reports about it? I haven't been able to find any. Have you guys?
if you traffic drugs while possessing an automatic machine gun, to include the fully automatic machine guns like those on this table, you will face a 30-year mandatory minimum. And I want that to be known. Second, as to methamphetamine.
Facts, Torian. Super facts. If they don't say what community it's coming from, we know what community it's coming from. Big facts. Big facts. Because silence is the communication. Anytime something's not spoken on, that's when it's a huge problem. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why when we talk about them, it's, well, you need to keep race out of it. But when it comes to us, they racialize everything. Well, it's black on black crime, you see. Well, what do you call this? Because this isn't black on black crime. Let's just put that out there for the replay viewers. Is this black on black crime? Have any of these sick, disgusting stories that we've gone over today, have any of these been black on black crime? If they're not black on black crime, then somebody's not telling the truth, because when it comes to crime, we commit all of it. So then the question is, well, what is this? Well, this is what you do. You find something, you find something else, and you find something else, and you run that as a story all day, and you run it in multiple ways to make it seem like there's just all of this stuff going on, while you give this exclusively to the local news so that you keep it in one little pocket and the story doesn't get out nationally. Because if this kind of stuff got out nationally, man, there's a lot of stuff going on. We're dealing with an entire level of messiness that's unheard of. You know what I'm saying?
Methamphetamine. The methamphetamine that we are seeing in eastern North Carolina and across the country is not meth that's cooked in a bathtub with Sudafed. This is highly pure, cartel-made methamphetamine.
So we're dealing with some Gus Fring level shit. This is some Breaking Bad, Walter White level shit. They got a whole lab, an actual lab. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Greets with Fire. Sad fact is they find some BS reason to blame it on black folks anyway. Super facts. And that's one of the reasons why we have to go through these kind of things and talk about these, because when it comes to criminality, every community has a minority of a criminal element. We're not the only community that has criminality in it. We're the only community that has a media machine that hyper focuses on the criminal people that we have. And what you end up having is you have people believe that shit. And then you have people like LeBron James sit up there and say stupid shit like, well, we're our worst enemy. Let me ask you a question. If we're our worst enemy, then what are people who do stuff like this to themselves? Now, here's my question. How many white celebrities are going to come out and, as a result of this, just denounce this? They're going to denounce the bike culture. They're going to denounce Harley Davidson. They're going to say, you know, with us doing stuff like this and these women beating the shit out of these kids at daycare centers and everybody killing their families, we're our worst enemy. Are we ever going to hear that? Because, I mean, if you look at who's killing their own families, I mean, you really don't need to say who their worst enemy is. Clearly, it speaks for itself in the headlines.
And across the country is not meth that's cooked in a bathtub with Sudafed. This is highly pure, cartel-made methamphetamine cooked in a Mexican lab with a degree of purity that we have not seen in recent years. Nearly 100% purity. The methamphetamine, in terms of the volume, the quantity, and the potency in this case, is absolutely staggering.
See, Torian, when people say stuff like that, trying to relate it to what LeBron James said, that's WS brain damage. That's people that listen to the WS news. That's people that don't do their own research. And that's people that sadly have been programmed to believe that we have some kind of inherent issues that other people don't. You know what I'm saying? And that's not true. We don't have any kind of issues that other people don't have. The only issues that we have is that we operate off of some ethics that we need to drop. You know what I mean? And that we actually have hearts and care about humanity as a whole, which is something that also might be something that people need to reevaluate, especially when it's not reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to my man Greets with Fire. You guys welcome Greets with Fire to the family with some radiation emoji. Make sure you check out my other channels, Greets with Fire. And shout out to N Major. I didn't even see you in here. What's good with it? Yeah, absolutely. You think that anybody's going to come out and say it's situations like this that caused Britney Spears to not be able to keep her clothes on, and now she's about to be deemed crazy again? Situations like this, drugs messing with your head, or personal responsibility for the opiate epidemic, and if we just keep taking opiates and shooting dog food into our veins, it's us who are our worst enemy. Are any of the country stars, any of the GOP going to come out and say any of that? Probably not. Probably not. So my question is, if the people who kill their own families at the highest rate don't have their celebrities coming out and saying we're our worst enemy, especially when celebrities themselves are killing their own families like Christopher Benoit, then why are we saying that we're our own enemy? Shout out to Bongani. What up with it? Why are we saying that? I got to agree with Torian's video. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Torian. People should never say that kind of stuff. People should never say that kind of stuff because it's not true. And you're feeding into the nonsense white media narrative, which is always nonsense.
This case is a clear example of how Mexican cartels partner with American gangs to traffic methamphetamine and other synthetic drugs to every corner of our state and our country. It is increasingly driving people to psychosis, to homelessness, and it's ripping families and communities apart. Stopping violent organizations like this one in disrupting the flow of methamphetamine to our communities is a top priority for my office and the Department of Justice.
Hold on. I'm going to stop this real quick for Lloyd Sky 9, and I'm going to put something else up. Shout out to RG Titan, the bed bucking examination of baby Bron James. Oh, man. What are the names of these American gangs? Of the American gangs? The one that they're talking about is a guy that was running meth for the Pagans, which is a 1% motorcycle gang. This is inside the death of Chris Benoit, the professional wrestler who familicided. I'm going to put this article in the chat for anybody that wants to read it. Because familicide is something that Ron DeSantis should be paying more attention to than critical race theory. You know what I'm saying? But if they focused on familicide, that would actually show that they care about themselves, which clearly they don't. Because when you're not focusing on what it is that's taking you out and you claim that your biggest fear is being taken out, a little bit of hypocrisy going on there.
Our investigation into outlaw motorcycle gangs continues, and it will continue until those who are violent and bringing drugs into this community are brought to justice. This is part of a sustained effort, a collaboration with the Raleigh Chief of Police and her incredible team and federal law enforcement agencies across Eastern North Carolina to ensure that people here in Raleigh and across Eastern North Carolina can live out their lives in peace without fear of violence.
If you guys haven't subscribed to all my channels, make sure you guys take a moment and hit them bells twice. And yep, hey, Torian, can you drop the link for your LeBron James video in the chat? If you guys ain't subscribed to Torian, also make sure you guys go and check his channel out as well.
Violence and drug trafficking in our streets. With that, I'd like to pass it over to Raleigh Chief of Police, Estella Patterson, who I know needs to step to another engagement soon. So I want you to have the opportunity to hear from her. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Easley. Good morning. As stated, my name is Estella Patterson, and
So you know they're not happy about that. Oh, you know they're not happy. She's the chief.
I am the Chief of Police for the Raleigh Police Department. It is an honor to stand with my colleagues and partners today to once again announce, as Mr. Easley has stated, that another criminal element has been disrupted and key members removed from the streets of Raleigh. The success of this investigation and the accompanying indictments are a result of the tremendous—
Hold on real quick. This is in Raleigh. This is in North Carolina. This isn't that police chief. This isn't that woman where when she joined the police force, everybody quit, is it? This isn't the same person, is it? Do you guys remember that story? When they appointed a black female police chief and then all of the white police officers quit. Do you guys remember that story? This isn't that particular police chief, is it? Let me know in the comment section.
Tremendous work of our detectives
Okay.
assigned to the
All right,
Raleigh
good
Police
luck, bro.
Department's Criminal Enterprise Drug Unit, agents from the ATF and FBI, members of the City County Bureau of Identification, the U.S. Marshal's Office, and the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Eastern District of North Carolina. Each day, the men and women assigned to these teams devote great energy, countless hours, and immense resources to pursue individuals and organizations such as this for the betterment of our great city. The actions of the defendant in this case, Mr. Christopher Baker, and the criminal organization that he represented jeopardized the safety of every member of our community. The 46 firearms that were confiscated as a result of this investigation undoubtedly saved countless lives from being harmed or even taken. The kilograms of methamphetamines and other controlled substances that were seized were very likely prevented the overdose of a young person who may have been introduced to drugs or might have been recovering. individuals whose parents and loved ones have desperately prayed for and seeking intervention to ensure the betterment of their future. The efforts of our detectives, agents, marshals, and many others have averted senseless tragedies in our city. I can assure you that the work of our dedicated professionals across law enforcement teams to bring this case to justice and prevent further harm to our community is just the beginning, as Mr. Easley stated. Collectively, we are devoting more resources to reduce narcotic distribution and prevent violence in our streets and in our neighborhoods. To those engaging in criminal enterprises, hear me when I say we're not tolerable of your behavior, and we're coming after you and all those who aid and abet you. As our city and our region continues to grow, the Raleigh Police Department is fully committed to standing shoulder to shoulder with our local, state, federal, and community partners to disrupt criminal organizations that negatively impact the quality of life for our children, for our seniors, for all who reside in our community. We will not stop our pursuit against criminal behavior until Raleigh is the safest city to live, learn, play, and work. To our community, thank you for your continued support and confidence in our police department and our entire law enforcement profession to keep you safe. To those standing with me today, thank you for your incredible leadership, your partnership and ownership on investigations of this magnitude and the success of it. We are fortunate to have you on this side of the law. Thank you.
So now again, like this right here is a huge bust. Like this is Connect level bust, right? Like they've gotten the Connect. You see what I'm saying? They've gotten the people at the top of the drug chain. They got some of the people from the cartel. Wouldn't you think that this would be front page news? But it's not. Chili said her badge is sideways. I bet you Herschel Walker put it on her.
I'd like to ask Special Agent in charge of the ATF, Benny Mims, to come forward to share a few words. His agency has done so much to focus and learn and investigate and prosecute outlaw motorcycle gangs nationally for many years. We're grateful for your partnership.
Thank you. Just a few words here. I want to start out by thanking the United States Attorney and the Raleigh Police Department for their commitment to making this case a success. ATF has a long history with the outlaw motorcycle gangs, recognizing that these groups often tied closely to a number of criminal acts, including.
Now, again, like when it comes to talking about the outlaw motorcycle gangs, why aren't they calling them white supremacist street gangs? Because outlaw motorcycle gangs, 1% outlaw motorcycle gangs are white supremacist gangs. So I'm just curious as to why they're not addressing it and calling it white supremacist gangs. Does that make sense to you guys? If that makes sense, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't make sense, give me a thumbs down. But pay very close attention to how the mainstream media does the thing that they do in order to appease these people. We're going to take race out of it, despite the fact that race is very much in it when it comes to these gangs and their bylaws. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not smashed that like button, please take a moment, smash the like button. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that bell icon twice and share the video out to all of your followers. And I got to agree with my man, Genesis is lazy. It's a positive euphemism for not a thug. And yeah, America likes to keep her dirty little secrets. Facts. Shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson for exposing a lot of them in 2 books. Ghostwalker says, be right next to them and don't even know, but them signs be there. That's the whole point of all of this. This is the reason why you don't see videos like this, you know what I'm saying, on TV. This is the reason why they don't put this kind of stuff in the mainstream news. Shout out to my man DJ Elmo. It's because they're supposed to uphold a particular profile, and nobody's supposed to look at them in any other way other than that fake profile that's held up. And that's one of the reasons why they disguise these stories as exclusives and say you'll only see this on local news, because they're the ones that want to control the growth of the story, and they don't want it to be a national story. Imagine if everything that we watched was a national story, because these are national noteworthy stories. These are this is high level criminality. You know what I'm saying?
In gun violence, farms trafficking, and drug trafficking. This case has been particularly important to ATF and our partners. For 15 months, ATFA special agents and Raleigh Police Department's criminal enterprise drug unit have put their focus on members of the area Pagan Motorcycle Club, a recognized outlaw motorcycle gang involved in distribution of.
As a matter of fact, RG Titan, they actually mentioned that particular gang in this particular video, because that particular gang was the dealer from this particular situation's connect. You know what I'm saying? And it mentioned them being in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
Large quantities of methamphetamines and firearms in North Carolina and surrounding states. A lot of long hours and every resource at our disposal went into making sure this case reached this point that we are at right now. As United States Attorney's and as Chief has mentioned, the individuals caught, charged, and sentenced from this case are responsible for putting incredible amounts of illegal narcotics on our streets. I'm very pleased to also announce that we also seized 46 firearms for some very dangerous individuals during this investigation.
So again, pay very close attention to how much firepower that these guys have. Now, here's my question for you guys. Being that these people are who these people are, let me ask you guys a question. Do you all think that people in this particular group, this particular gang that's under scrutiny here, that they had connections inside of the police department? If you guys feel that these guys had connections inside the PD, give me a thumbs up in the chat. If you guys don't think they have any connection inside the police, give me a thumbs down. Now, the reason why I keep referencing Sons of Anarchy is because it's a real interesting show. I liked it, and I think that you guys should check it out because it's a very accurate depiction. One of the things that was depicted in the Sons of Anarchy is the relationship between the Sons of Anarchy Motorcycle Club and the Charming PD. The Charming is an imaginary city called Charming, California. The Charming, California PD. They had a real deep relationship with them. Now, remember, when it comes to these particular gangs, this is organized crime. This is even more organized than the mafia. You know what I'm saying? So it's just interesting. And it's also interesting how the mainstream media shoves it under the rug. And one of the reasons why they shove it under the rug is because they give it that white supremacist, you're okay nudge. You know what I'm saying? You're definitely okay. You okay with us? You know what I mean?
This effort highlights the importance of effective federal and state agencies working together, and every minute spent on this case was well spent. And as we brought some very violent and individuals to justice to help my community safer in North Carolina and beyond. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to you.
Yes, sir. We
Look at all
can
those guns.
try to answer some questions.
Look at all those guns. Look at all of those guns. Those people have clubhouses that have guns on guns on guns, racks on racks on racks like that. You know what I'm saying? Racks on racks on racks. So now DJ Elmo says in 2019, a ship belonging to a subsidiary of JP Morgan was seized due to carrying the white powder with a street value of $1.3 billion. Look at what goes on. The reason why the United States was over there in Afghanistan, all of those poppy fields that they don't talk about. What do you guys think they had planned on doing with that stuff? And magically we have a quote unquote opiate epidemic.
Bearing in mind that we are somewhat limited.
Yeah, he was about to go to war.
Talk
Facts.
about ongoing investigations, but happy to take some questions if we can. Yes, ma'am.
How long did it take for this case to come together?
This case was launched in 2020. I shouldn't say this case, but this OCDF operation was launched in 2020. And so it really was a very thoughtfully laid out and concerted effort. One of the things about our organized crime and drug enforcement task force is that it is a prosecutor-led, intelligence-driven operation that is totally built upon partnerships. So it's not so much an organization as it is a commitment in a partnership. And local law enforcement like
Facts. Gary Smith is absolutely right. Most of the people, especially in those 1% motorcycle gangs, at least when it comes to the OGs, like the older generation of them, like the ones that was around during the time that the hippies was around, most of them formed immediately after the Vietnam War. And one of the reasons why it formed after the Vietnam War was because a lot of those people had issues reintegrating into the population. So they kind of just did their thing outside of the normal mainstream communities. And they rode those Harley Davidsons because those Harley Davidsons used to be contracted with the military. So they had experience riding those from being in the military. You know what I'm saying? And then they started calling themselves motorcycle clubs. And then the Motorcycle Association said, well, 99% of motorcycle associations abide by the law and 1% of them don't. And so now all of the clubs that are 1%ers that wear that 1% biker, that 1% diamond, that means that those are the clubs that openly are outlaw and don't abide by the law. So when people talk about quote unquote 1%, that's where that 1% thing comes from, the statement by the American Motorcycle Association.
Raleigh Police Department will devote officers to be cross-sworn as task force officers to work with federal agencies to build cases like this. And it allows us to really combine this local knowledge and local intelligence that Raleigh Police Department is so incredible about cultivating with federal tools like federal wiretaps that can let us tap into transnational or multi-state organized crime operations. So that's a pretty lengthy operation, but it's really the only way to get at significant organized crime cases like this one. Yes, ma'am.
The only time that the Vegas Motorcycle Club in 2023, I think, local headlines, there was a murder on New Year's Day. Are you guys looking at the interaction between that incident?
That's a great point, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. And that's one of the reasons why I'm talking about how they are integrated into the police. If you guys agree with Tone, you never hear the police talking about biker gangs, just the Crips and Bloods. Give me a thumbs up. If you disagree, give me a thumbs down. Now, the feds, depending on the size of the gang, especially if it's a nationwide gang with a lot of chapters, in many cases, the feds tend to deal with them. Like I said, there's a classification of quote unquote the big five, and the quote unquote big five are those that are under federal surveillance for the most part at all times. And a lot of them been compromised with snitches and informants and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with Torian also. That's because they have ties to them. If the police had ties to the Crips and Bloods, they wouldn't talk about them either. Facts. If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down.
This or just violence in general and retaliation?
What I'll say is, in every case, we will follow the facts and the law wherever they lead. And outlaw motorcycle gangs, be they the pagans or any others that are engaged in violence here in North Carolina, we absolutely
notice how he didn't name any others.
Follow the facts and the law wherever they lead. And outlaw motorcycle gangs, be they the pagans or any others that are.
Notice how he didn't name anybody else.
Engaged in violence here in North Carolina, we absolutely are paying close attention to. And our investigations into outlaw motorcycle gangs and the violence that they perpetrate continues. Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask a question of the chief, please?
Yes.
So I know, Chief Patterson, you mentioned having a specialized team in the past to look into outlaw motorcycle groups. And she just mentioned the situation that happened on New Year's Day. What's keeping you busy?
Well, the city of Raleigh is keeping me busy.
In terms of motorcycle gangs.
Yes. And so really our investigations with the motorcycle gangs really yields to our federal partners and to our task force officers that are working on that. I'm devoting the majority of my resources to what is happening day to day in the Raleigh community, in our streets and within our communities. So that's where we have put the resources primarily. We are leaning very heavily on our federal partners to help us with the outlaw gangs and the other motorcycle gangs.
And this might be for you, Mr. Easley, but can you just talk about how prevalent Mr. Baker was in terms of, how big he was in this?
Right. So the Pagans Motorcycle Club fans out internationally, but the
You see that? These things are international, organized with chapters, membership fees, all kind like these are intricate operations that are global. These are global. You know what I'm saying? Global operations. You know what I'm saying?
United States is run by what's known as a mother club. And there are functionally 13 folks that lead that, what they call the mother club. And one who achieves the rank of 13.
Notice how the number 13, remember how I told you guys, pay attention to those numbers, 13, 33, 66, pay attention to that. Remember what I told you guys about the Ku Klux Klan, the KKK? K is the 11th letter of the alphabet. When you add 3 Ks together, or when you multiply 11 times 3, you get 33. Remember, that matches up with 33 degrees of you know what. So pay attention to all of that. And then when you remember that Albert Pike, and then you look at George Washington's gravestone and see what's written on his gravestone over being the president of the United States, now you get into the zeros and the ones.
Is one of those national leaders. And typically it's someone who comes up beginning as a chapter president, who then achieves a rank of Diamondback and then leads the organization within a given state, and then can ascend to the level of one of the 13 national leaders. And in this case, Mr. Baker followed that exact path and became one of the 13 national members of that mother club organization. And in that capacity, led the Pagans operations in North and South Carolina. And I'll look to my ATF partners if they can clarify any further than I have on sort of the structure and organization roughly. There's a bit of literature on this that's out there. And of course, things are subject to change. Anything you'd add to that?
No, I think it's just, like I say, just we have a lot of outlaw motorcycle gangs out there that kind of consider themselves the 1%ers. And those are always you have obviously recreational motorcycle gangs, but the ones that we really pay attention to are those ones that identify as the 1%er, and not all 1%ers, but
1%ers. See, that's what I was talking about earlier.
Again, as he said, I can't necessarily go into details, but this is a international gang, and they've been associated in causing violence throughout the country. And
they're all international. They're all international. And and this dude could go into detail if he wanted to. Like, this is common knowledge. Like, all you got to do is just watch the episode of Gangland where they talk about a bunch of different motorcycle clubs, and you'll have all the information that this dude is saying. Well, I ain't gonna talk about it right now. I ain't gonna talk about it right now. You can get all that information right there. You know what I'm saying? And you'll know everything you need to know.
The whole world, honestly. So,
Are all of the 19 defendants that you mentioned pagan members?
About a dozen are Pagans. So there are 20 defendants overall in the operation. There are several women who were indicted. Pagans is a men's only club. So of the 20,
all 1% clubs are men's only clubs. if it's a men's only club, then that means that it has a quote unquote fraternal order. Just saying.
Indicted, about a dozen were pagans, and the women were not. We also mentioned the indictment of 2 suppliers of
right.
drugs and firearms
that's facts
to Mr. Baker.
And again, it's interesting, right, that they got the black chief of police and they got this black ATF prosecutor, and they're not mentioning the racial element of the 1% biker clubs. All 1% biker clubs are exclusively white supremacist, whether they're Hispanic or whether they're white supremacist biker gangs that do not allow black members. They allow Asians, they allow Latinos, they allow every other group of people other than black people.
His crew.
And when you talk about the distribution of meth, are you talking about all across the eastern seaboard? Are we talking Raleigh locally?
Yes, the movement of meth was across multiple states, and our investigation involved partnerships with state police in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. There was testimony at the trial of folks traveling as far as West Virginia, if I'm remembering correctly.
Are there any charges for hate crimes? Is this considered a hate group?
There are no charges for hate crimes in this case.
Notice how he doesn't answer the question if it's considered a hate group.
Yes, sir.
Is this regional chapter now defunct, or are they just going to cycle somebody up to the top and this chapter still exists?
That I can't speak to right now.
That's because they're making deals.
I will say that those members of this or any group that engage in violence will be receiving absolute heightened attention.
What happens with a lot of these big multinational motorcycle clubs is that a lot of times this stuff doesn't even go to trial, because what ends up happening is that these clubs are so organized and they're so powerful that a lot of times what they'll start doing is they'll start targeting the DA and the federal agents and the prosecutors themselves. They'll do things like call a chapter that's close to their daycare and have just a whole parking lot full of bikers when the prosecutor comes to pick up their kids or something like that. Or they'll do something like a car may blow up and then somehow things just magically get dropped. This happens all the time. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Thank you, folks. I appreciate your time.
So there's that. So that's pretty interesting, right? What do you guys think about that? That's something that you didn't hear about in the news. Just like this. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Why do they not put these things in the news? I ask you guys this question every time. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I ask is because there's so many reasons why they wouldn't want to put these things in the news. You know what I'm saying? This guy here is a P-word pop star, and his name is Gary Glitter. How many people have heard of Gary Glitter? He was released from jail after serving half of his sentence. Why? This article came out on February 3rd of 2023. Why was this guy released after serving half of his sentence? You know what I'm saying? So check this out. I think this is just one of those videos where they just show some stuff and they don't really have any context to it, but let's check it out. A prison vehicle leaves jail where the P-word pop star Gary Glitter was released after serving half of his 16-year sentence. So how does this guy get to only serve 16 years? That's him right there on the screen. So that's what everybody wants to watch. An ugly van just driving through, right? So we'll just speed past that. Disgraced British pop star and convicted P-word Gary Glitter was released from prison on Friday after serving just half of his 16-year sentence. Glitter, who was born Paul Francis Gadd, was set free from Dorset's HMP, the Verne Prison in England, PA News reports. The Do You Want to Touch Me, ironically, singer was caged in 2015 after he sexually abused 3 young girls, all under the age of 13 at the height of his fame in the 1970s. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Are we going to have a TV series called Surviving Gary Glitter? Just call them a map. We're going to have a Netflix special called Surviving Gary Glitter. You know what I'm saying? The 79-year-old's third victim was under the age of 10. Look at this. Look at this. He snuck into her bed and tried to grape her back in 1975. Glitter reached global stardom in the 1970s and 80s, but his success was short-lived after he was caught downloading 4,000 CP images in 1999, landing him in jail for only 4 months. He was only in jail for 4 months. You know what I'm saying? DJ Elmo says that this wasn't even broadcast widely in the United Kingdom. His string of P-word crimes continued into the early 2000s when he was expelled from Cambodia amid reports of sex crimes allegations. He was convicted of having sex with a minor in Vietnam in 2006. He was freed after serving just 3 years in jail there and was ordered to register as a sex offender upon return to home soil. So, I mean, he's going to all these different countries, bringing degeneracy right along with him. And they're giving him slaps on the wrist. You know what I'm saying? In a bid to carry out his heinous crimes, Glitter separated the young girls from their parents by inviting them backstage at his gigs. He then took advantage of them in his dressing rooms. It's difficult to overstate the depravity of this dreadful behavior, Judge Alistair McCreath said at his sentencing, adding that he wished he could put Glitter behind bars for longer, but was constrained by sentencing restrictions for crimes committed in the 1970s. Now, isn't that interesting? In the UK, there's restrictions on how long somebody can serve jail time for based on when the crime originally occurred. Now out of prison, Glitter will be subject to license conditions, which means that he will have to follow a set of rules to serve in the community. The singer's 1972 hit Rock and Roll Part 2 was featured in the 2019 movie Joker. We don't hear too much about this. This guy is a British pop star going around doing nasty stuff. Yeah, you know, we just won't talk about it. I mean, why would we talk about it? Now, this is interesting, right? Because I don't know if everybody heard about this. There was a situation that happened in New Jersey where a young lady took her own life. This was a result of bullying in school. DJ Elmo says in the UK, statute of limitations only applies to PC people, and I'm not surprised. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. So the superintendent of that school where that young lady committed suicide has resigned after making shocking claims against the 14-year-old who committed the suicide and her father. Did you guys know about that? This development? If you guys knew about this, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't know about this, give me a thumbs down. This right here. This is some mess right here. So now here it says the superintendent of the New Jersey school district resigned after making shocking allegations against a 14-year-old girl who committed suicide and her father. Adriana Kutch was found dead on February 3rd in her home in Bayville, New Jersey. The 14-year-old girl committed suicide 2 days after she was assaulted at her school. Adriana's father, Michael Kutch, believes that his daughter committed suicide because she was violently attacked by bullies at her high school. Videos of the brutal beatdown that took place at Central Regional High School in Berkeley Township was uploaded online. The distraught father was furious that school officials didn't contact the police to press charges against the 4 students who allegedly attacked his daughter. 4 girls were suspended indefinitely for their alleged involvement in the attack. Superintendent Triantafylos Parlapandides claimed, "I don't believe a police report was done. We'd normally just suspend. If a parent wants to press charges, they can with the police. We're not going to double whammy a kid where they are suspended and then police charges as well." That's interesting because every time there was a fight at my high school, the police got called. When there was a fight at you guys' high school, when you guys were in high school, did the police get called or no? If the police got called, give me a thumbs up or some radiation emoji in the chat. If the police didn't get called, give me a thumbs down. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed that like button, please make sure that you guys take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys aren't subscribed, go ahead, hit the bell icon twice, and please help your boy out by sharing the stream out to your social media. So now here it says Michael Kutch demanded justice for how the high school attack was handled. Parlapinides, who reportedly makes $190,000 a year, attempted to defend his position by making eye-opening remarks about the deceased teen girl and her father. Parlapinides told Daily Mail after Adriana's mother's suicide, since her father was having an affair at the end of her 6th grade, her father married the woman he had an affair with and moved into the house. Her grades and choices declined in the 7th and 8th grade, the superintendent said. We offered her drug rehab and mental services on 5 occasions, but her father refused every time. Parapinides alleged, we tried helping her several times, but mother suicide was a major reason she started making poor choices. Kutch responded to the superintendent's claims. I don't know how to respond to this insane deflection. This guy is a piece of shit. Well, I mean, you just did respond to it, and you didn't deny any of it. DeAndre says, bruh, I saw some shit where they were suspending black kids for making TikTok videos for holding their cell phones like a gun. I'm not surprised. Tone says, Rob, look up May 17th, 2015, Waco, Texas biker gang shootout between 2 rival biker gangs. 5 of them were the outlaw biker gang. Charges dropped on all. 9 died. Oh, I'm not surprised. That happens all the time. Texas, South Dakota, California, Tacoma, Washington. Man, that stuff happens all the time, and they don't really talk about it. It doesn't get blasted all over the mainstream media. You can't convince people that it's only us that commit crime if you put that kind of stuff out. You know what I'm saying? There's been instances of issues with smaller motorcycle gangs too. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker says, but I'm old and went to school in the white burbs of California. So, oh, you said that you guys didn't know police in the schools? Yeah, we had police at the schools. Anytime there was a fight, and we had fights, it'd be at least like maybe a fight or two every 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? The police will get called. They couldn't really do anything if the person wasn't a senior. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says, Kutch explained to the Daily Mail that Adriana's mother battled addiction and died in 2015 when Adriana was only 7. He denied claims that Adriana was offered drug counseling. Kutch admitted that he was trying to get help for his daughter, who had been smoking marijuana with a vape pen. Parapendides resigned on Sunday, the same day as Adriana Kutch's funeral. So now here it says the Central Regional School District issued a statement on Saturday. The Central Regional School District Board of Education has accepted the resignation of Dr. Trentophilos Parlepinides. The Central Regional family continues to mourn the loss of one of our children. We are all praying for the family and loved ones and our entire community. The Central Regional School District is evaluating all current and past allegations of bullying. The district has contacted the Department of Education and will undergo an independent assessment of the district's anti-bullying policies and ensure that every necessary safeguard is in place to protect our students and staff. Dr. Douglas Colbert is acting superintendent, effective immediately. 3 students who were suspects in the February 1st incident were originally charged with third-degree felony assault, and a 4th student was hit with a disorderly conduct charge. However, Ocean City prosecutors upgraded the charges. 1 girl was charged with aggravated assault, 2 were charged with conspiracy to commit aggravated assault, and another was charged with harassment. All right. So now here this is talking about the dad who's demanding justice for the bullied teen. So we'll watch this video real quick.
This morning, a New Jersey father is demanding justice for his daughter.
Adriana was the most happy, beautiful young lady in the world. She loved animals.
So now, no offense, you know what I'm saying? No offense to the dead, but it's interesting that the father is telling a different story than what the school is saying. And honestly, I think that the school, I think that the superintendent or whoever that was that made those statements about this father and this daughter, I think he was asked to step down by the community because the community probably said, you're not allowed to reveal any problems that make one of us look dysfunctional. Because according to that superintendent, there was a lot of issues and dysfunction in that family, which, you know, a lot of times families can become dysfunctional. Families can be problematic. Families have issues. Nobody is immune to that. But when you have to uphold a fake public perception of perfection, it's a lot of it is based on lies. And a lot of it is based on gaslighting. And I think what that superintendent was saying is true, but they're not going to allow that. We have to uphold a phony appearance of, you know, perfection and superiority at all times. And you taking away from that in this moment where this family is grieving, we got to get you up out of here because you're doing too much. And that name sounds really foreign. You know what I'm saying?
Michael Kush's 14-year-old daughter, Adriana, died by suicide last week, one day after he says this video of her being assaulted at school spread on social media.
My daughter's never been in a fight before. Literally, she loves everybody.
In the video, Adriana is hit repeatedly with what appears to be a full water bottle before being punched and kicked by other students.
So this looked like PC on PC crime. Can anybody confirm if this is PC on PC crime? It looks like Adriana didn't survive the suburbs.
Some of them heard laughing.
Getting hit in the face with the water bottle didn't hurt Adriana. What hurt Adriana was the embarrassment and humiliation. They just kept coming at her.
Kush claims nothing was done to protect Adriana.
I think that more than the bullying or more than that fight is what caused that young lady to take her life. I think that her home life combined with her school life is what caused her to get depressed to the point where she felt that taking her own life was the only way out. That's what I think. I don't think that it was just the fight that she had in school that made her want to take herself out. What do you guys think? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. I think that she probably was having a hard time at home also. And I think she probably I agree with the what is that guy's name? I agree with the superintendent. Probably once the mother passed away, she was having a hard time. And in addition to the mother passing away and her having a hard time, she was probably not appropriately grieving. You know what I'm saying? And now not appropriately grieving, that's not a fault of her own, because most people don't grieve appropriately when somebody that's close to them, like a mother, dies. But, that's a factor. And to act like that didn't contribute, it was solely because of this fight. All they're trying to do is take away from, you know what I'm saying, some of the questionable decisions that the father made. But we can't make America's favorite males possibly look like they may have had any issue in the face of pressure. You know what I'm saying? So we've got to put this on the fact that this isolated event of where she was fighting was the total and sole cause of the self-deletion. In most situations, self-deletion occurs as a result of ongoing depression and feelings of hopelessness. That's not going to happen after one fight. So I don't agree with this narrative. I actually agree with the superintendent.
She blacks out, and they don't call an ambulance. They take her to the nurse's office.
According to the CDC, in the last 10 years, suicide has risen to the second leading cause of death for school-age children. 1 in 10 high school students.
Now, I wonder how that looks if you break it down by demographics. Now, when we talk about any kind of negative disparity, when it's black people, they have no problem saying that black people lead in this. Diabetes, high blood pressure, COVID deaths, crime. But notice how when black people don't lead in a negative category, what we're not going to do is we're not going to break it down by race. Shout out to my man, JB Easy. Do you guys notice that as a trend that the mainstream media does? If you guys notice that trend, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't notice that trend, give me a thumbs down.
Years, suicide has risen to the second leading cause of death for school-age children. 1 in 10 high school students attempted suicide in 2019. And officials say among the most concerning risk factors, bullying. Koosh is demanding accountability from the school where the 4 alleged attackers were suspended indefinitely. He says that's not enough. And many students agree, protesting what they say is a lack of action. The superintendent told reporters police were not called after the assault because he didn't want the suspended students to face what he called a double whammy of punishment. And a reminder, if you or anyone you know experience suicidal thoughts, there is help available 24 hours a day. Dial 988 for the National Suicide Hotline.
So, what you might want to do is, if you feel a certain kind of way, dial 9 for the National Student Hotline, or for the National Suicide Hotline. How many of you guys know who Patrick Crucis is? If you guys know who Patrick Crucis is, give me a thumbs up. If you don't know who Patrick Crucis is, give me a thumbs down. Yeah, bullying can absolutely be hard on a kid. I totally agree. And it causes a lot of kids to self-delete, sadly. You know what I'm saying? Patrick Crucis was the El Paso Walmart shooter. He pleads guilty to killing 23 people. Can anybody tell me a time that they can think of that a black person killed 23 people? One black person killing 23 people. You guys can you guys think of a time? Can you guys think of some names? Give me some names. Who killed all these damn people? Give me some black people that killed all these damn people. I don't know too many. I haven't heard too many cases. But we're so bad and we commit all the crime. I'm sure that that's happened. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker said King Von. He killed 23 people? But we are the problem. Facts. He killed 9 people? That's a lot of people. But do y'all know any that killed 23? I don't know either. So now, the people that King Von allegedly killed, were they random people just walking into a Walmart and shooting up anybody, or did he have some type of long-standing beef or issue with those kind of people? How many people did the Washington sniper kill? That happened a long time ago, didn't that happen about 20 years ago? Yoshi, shout out to Yoshi Mori. What up with it, bro? Right. We don't have a pair of Jordans for the bodies. You know what I'm saying? So he had beef. From Google, it says 17. Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. Is there anybody else besides the Washington snipers and King Von? The brother Malzone from The Wire got more bodies than a Chinese cemetery. If you watch The Wire, you get the punchline. Oh, okay. So we got the Washington sniper and we got King Von. Is there anybody else? Can anybody think of anybody else? In Major says there's no proof of that. Was he ever convicted? I'm not sure. I'm not justifying anything. I don't recall myself saying it's okay that King Von killed these people. But motive matters. They ask about motive in court. And I'm not doing anything different than what a court's doing. It's looked at different if it's a random killing versus a gang-related killing or something like that, which is why I'm asking, because random is requires a little bit different examination. Yeah, I asked why, just like how the prosecutors do. So prosecutors and judges are allowed to ask about motive, but I'm not allowed to. Why not? Why are prosecutors and judges allowed to ask about motive, but I'm not? That's what I'm curious about. What was that dude from Ohio's name, Carlton? He was a serial killer and he killed a bunch of women. He used to play the saxophone. He was a serial killer on the west side of Cleveland. You know who I'm talking about? Chili says they lie about the motives about us and the white boys have manifestos. Yeah, that's facts. But I want to know why the prosecutor and the judge are allowed to ask about motive and I'm not. That's what I want to know. I seriously want to understand that. I want to understand why I should bypass the processes that the court use. I should just overlook shit that they look at. You know what I'm saying? Like, motive is literally a huge part of every case of every crime. Yeah, Anthony Sowell. That's it. That's it. Yeah. I do care. I care why. And it doesn't matter if I care why or not. Motive is something that has to be established in court. These aren't my rules. You know what I'm saying? I didn't make this up. I don't understand what's so offensive about motive. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why I'm supposed to supersede the U.S. court system. Why am I operating like I made up the rules? Hold on real quick. We about to look at something. So on Nolo, it says, is motive required for a criminal offense? No, but establishing motive can help the prosecution prove its case. So as badly as you want to see King Von prosecuted, a prosecutor who wants to prosecute him has to know the motive. The only thing that the only problem with that is that how you feel about that doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? What matters is what's necessary to prove it in court. Establishing a motive can help the prosecution prove its case. So I'm confused. And this is literally from the Nolo Legal Encyclopedia site. You know what I'm saying? So, like, would you agree that, like, we don't make up our own rules? If we're going into the court, we have to deal with the court's rules. So I'm not doing anything crazy or showing any favoritism, right? But when did I say that that was okay, though? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't even follow King Von. I don't really fuck with a lot of rappers, but I never said that him killing people was okay. You know what I'm saying? I've never said that anybody killing anybody was okay. I just said let's compare the motives. Are we not allowed to do that? Because this is CRIMECAST and that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I agree. I don't understand why anybody would take a life unless you're protecting yourself or loved ones. King Von lived by the gun and died by the gun. Facts. And that's what happens. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what happens. And a lot of times when people live by the gun, they take out people that's innocent too. All the time. Those kind of people always end up a stray bullet hitting a 6-year-old or something. You know what I'm saying? And that 6-year-old didn't have nothing to do with it. Or some innocent woman or some old lady walking down the street always get hit with a stray when people be gangbanging. You know what I'm saying? And when that kind of stuff happens, it's always somebody that has some potential or somebody that was doing something with their life. It's never a piece of shit that gets struck with the stray bullet. You know what I'm saying? So now this dude pled guilty to killing 23 people. The man accused of gunning down 23 people at an El Paso Walmart in a racially motivated 2019 attack pleaded guilty on Wednesday. So now what I find interesting about this is that they never concentrate on the racial element. Yeah, I agree, Carlton. They probably so high on drugs they can't aim. N Major said, "Yep, King Von is dead, and there's a chance that the people he may have or may not have killed were low life, just like him. Those people cannibalize each other. That fast money life and that gangbanging life is not the business. You know what I'm saying? That shit is not the business whatsoever." So now here it says Patrick Cruces admitted 90 federal charges in connection to the mass shooting in which the now 24-year-old drove over 10 hours from the Dallas suburbs to the border with an AK-47 and hundreds of rounds of ammunition, specifically to target Latinos. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this guy was Latino himself, wasn't he? Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker says, funny when white folks die, their whole life don't get brought to the trial. That's one of the reasons why we got to start running them lives, running them families. You know what I'm saying? I think one reason why that don't happen is because a lot of times, in many cases, we be too busy, hyper-focused on helping them throw each other under the bus. So if we're busy being busy little worker bees for them, throwing each other under the bus, that takes up a lot of time where we could be looking up information to do some media reciprocity with them. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how I see it. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I see it. You know what I'm saying? It could be different. I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying? Could be wrong. I need to put my glasses back on so I can see it right. You know what I'm saying? DJ Elmo said, is El Paso the same as El Paso in Colorado? The same place where that farmer is being harassed? Nah, I think this is in El Paso, Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So now here it says the charges included about 23 counts of hate crimes resulting in death, 23 counts of use of a firearm to commit murder during and in relation to a crime of violence, 22 counts of hate crime involving an attempt to kill, and 22 counts of use of a firearm during and in relation to a crime of violence. So look at how quickly they slap these hate charges on. You guys see that? Look at how they slap these hate crime charges on here. What y'all think about that? It seems like it's pretty easy to get hate crime charges when you're certain people. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that what it seemed like? Man, it took them forever to actually even bring up hate crime charges when it came to Peyton Gendron. And also when it comes to dealing with particular issues with crimes against Black people, it seems to me like they don't even try to attach hate crimes to it. It seems like they try to remove hate crime charges from it. Do you guys notice that? So now here it says Cruces told investigators he case studied the busy department store to make sure it was filled with Latin people, many of whom had crossed the border from Mexico to shop, before opening firing in the parking lot, then entering the store, murdering 23 and wounding 22 on August 3rd of 2019. So who do this sound like? I want you guys to give me some names. Who does this sound like? Doesn't this sound exactly like Peyton Gendron? Now, how is it that these crimes happen in exactly the same fashion, right? Literally, I mean, all you have to do is just change the name and change the location, and this would be the Buffalo mass shooting. Right? How is it that it's like that? But then they turn around and say that these are all isolated. Make it make sense. And then you got, the population at large, they'd just come out and just keep repeating, well, it was a crisis actor. It was a crisis actor. No, I saw that. I'm trying to think where did I see that at? Somebody did a video about it already. I don't know who did it. I'm sure Tori ain't gonna be all over that though. He sued Brett Favre and somebody else. He trying to sue Umar Johnson too. He got Brett Favre starting to develop a little pattern. Seems like the only people he want to sue is some black men. He sound like everybody else. He'll be getting cheered on. You know what I'm saying? He'll be getting cheered on. You know what I'm saying? He's got a whole group of cheerleaders that he has no idea is even out there with the pom-poms together to cheer him on simply because he's suing a black man. You know what I'm saying? Which is sad. This is some sad shit, but that's the world that we live in. So now here it says this attack is a response to the Hispanic invasion of Texas. He posted online just minutes before the massacre. I am simply defending my country from cultural and ethnic replacement brought on by an invasion. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What does that sound like? Uh-oh. Chili says it sounds like the NYC supermarket or the NY supermarket shooter. If you guys agree, that sounds like Peyton Gendron. Give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. I'm going to read this again. He sounds like he's been listening to Fox News. This attack is a response to the Hispanic invasion of Texas. He posted online just minutes before the massacre. I'm simply defending my country from a cultural and ethnic replacement brought on by an invasion, which I find fascinating because this country was created by a cultural and ethnic replacement. Would you guys agree that this country was created through cultural and ethnic replacement? Man, if that's not the pot calling the kettle white, I don't know what is. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says the courtroom was packed with victims and family members of those killed in the shooting, the El Paso Times reported. Cruces, wearing a blue jumpsuit and a face covering, was handcuffed at his front, which was attached to a metal chain around his waist during the plea. Federal prosecutors said they would not seek the death penalty for Cruces. Why not? Biden's DOJ. Shout out to Lemon Lucas. Biden's DOJ. Man, Biden's DOJ really draws its line very thick in the sand, doesn't it? Look at what Biden's excuse me. Look at what Biden's DOJ is doing. It seems to me like one thing that we can say that Biden's DOJ has done has been very lenient against racist extremists. That's one of the keynote parts of the Biden presidency, the leniency that the Biden administration has shown racists. They really look out for them. If you are a white supremacist or if you are a white nationalist, living life under the Biden administration is definitely the life for you because you will be protected at all costs. The same way people said They should have protected Kevin Samuels at all costs. Biden administration protects white supremacists at all costs. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says with capital punishment off the table. And the reason why it's off the table is because the federal prosecutors said that they would not seek the death penalty. This is the federal prosecutor saying that they're not going to, the federal prosecutors aren't going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Nobody made any kind of deals with them. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody did anything. This is the federal prosecutors on their own initiative saying, well, we're not going to seek the death penalty, despite the fact that this guy killed 24 people. The accused mass murderer was still possibly facing life in prison if his case had gone to trial. Adria Gonzalez, who heard Cruces yell anti-Mexican epithets as she helped shoppers get to the Walmart exits on the day of the shooting, told the Associated Press the decision to take the death penalty off the table was a slap in the face for us Latinos. Yeah, well, welcome to the club of not being white. So next time you guys sit up there and say that racism doesn't exist when we talk about it, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? These are the same people that want this kind of attention and treatment when something negative happens to them. But every time something negative happens to us, it's just our imagination. And it's usually those particular people leading the charge. It's those particular people leading the charge. You know what I'm saying? Who was up there on a radio show talking about black people shouldn't get any reparations? A brown pride person. You know what I'm saying? Fat Joe talking crazy. AOC talking crazy. You know what I'm saying? AOC says she don't even acknowledge black. What the hell are we then? You know what I'm saying? She acknowledged FBA because AOC said that she was a descendant of slaves. That's what she said. Them was her words, not mine. She said that shit. She said she was a descendant of slaves and a descendant of conquistadors. And I'm sure she's an adoso too. She damn near every damn thing. She like Whitney Houston. She's every woman. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she wanted to make sure everybody knew that part. She's not black. We know. You know what I'm saying? We know. Black people's noses ain't real sharp. I don't think we could cut somebody's throat with our nose, but I think AOC possibly could. AOC could stab somebody with that nose. I don't think we can do that. Most of us ain't really, you know what I'm saying? We ain't built like that in the face. I got a long nose, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't sharp though. It ain't sharp though. You know what I'm saying? My shit rounded like $100 bill. You know what I'm saying? Val Williams said AOC is engaged to one of them folks. Kamala Harris is too, isn't she? Yeah, I got a long nose, man, but it ain't sharp though. You know what I'm saying? It ain't sharp. Them people will stab you. You know what I'm saying? They'll poke a hole in your shit. They give you a trach. You know what I'm saying? They give you a trach. How you smoking out your neck, fucking around. So now here says former El Paso mayor D. Margo, who was the mayor at the time of the shooting, told El Paso Times he planned to attend Cruz's arraignment on Wednesday. He also attended the funerals of everyone who was killed. I have said all along that I don't think we can heal until he has been prosecuted, Margo said. That's interesting. I'm glad this person said that. That's one thing, if you ask me, that they need to get out of our face with, because they always try to put the pressure on the person talking to say, well, we forgive and we just need to move on. Nah, we don't need to move on. We need to dwell on this until we figure out the root of the problem and make sure that it don't happen anymore. People need to stop with that we're going to move on shit. Because let me ask you guys a question. Have we actually moved on? I mean, Tyree Nichols was just killed. So clearly we haven't moved on. Clearly, the stuff that we've been trying to get to stop is still happening. You know what I'm saying? That shit's still going down. So if the things are still going down, then why do we need to move past anything? We need to deal with and address what's going on currently, right? Not move past anything. You don't move past something if you haven't addressed the current issues. DeAndre said AOC hang out with Hunter. She seemed like she'd be on that booger sugar. Hey. You know what I'm saying? Hunter be living that catch me if you can life. Only thing I'm mad about Hunter about is being a racist and what else? Using taxpayer money to fund his lifestyle. Aside from that, smoke it up, drink it up, shoot it up, live it up, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I could definitely see AOC being on that shit, though. She tried to act like she prim and proper. You know what I'm saying? I highly doubt it. I guarantee you she got some Megan Hall stories. You know what I'm saying? They all do. Y'all seen what they found out about Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know what I'm saying? That was never mind. Torian said they want to move past it because it doesn't affect them. Yeah, I agree. I agree 110%. And I agree with PD Chicago B1. Just leave us alone. But that's the whole point. They don't want to leave us alone. So, you got to just do that natural adaptation thing. I bet you poison ivy tastes real good if you don't die from it. You know what I'm saying? You got to make yourself poison to the touch. You know what I'm saying? That's what them folks have perfected. You know what I'm saying? She got a, who is that? AOC got an OnlyFans somewhere? I wouldn't be surprised. I bet you she'll have one once she's done with her political career. She's going to be doing something strange for some change. People will watch that shit too. You seen that one dude, what was his name? That one reporter that was sexually harassing her like he ain't had no damn sense. And she was like, "Stop it. Leave me alone. I'm trying to go inside." And then she was like, "I'll slide you my number later." You know what I'm saying? Just don't tell anybody I'm married. And he was like, "Ooh," like Scooby-Doo. So now here it says, I'm disappointed that the federal hate crimes death penalty is off the table. Yeah, that's interesting. So if there's a federal hate crime death penalty, why did the prosecutor, they already had the hate crime attachments on there. Why did the prosecutor then go in and say, well, we're not going to go after the death penalty? They already had the hate crime in there. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that there. Did you guys know that there was a federal hate crimes death penalty? I didn't know that. If you guys knew that there was a federal hate crimes death penalty in Texas, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't know that, give me a thumbs down. Look, Carlton said AOC got an OnlyFans somewhere. If she don't have one now, she'll definitely have one after one night of kicking it with Hunter Biden. So now here it says, I have said from day one, I want him prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and that the full penalty should apply. Yeah, welcome to that justice that they be giving us, this quote unquote justice. So maybe think twice next time you say that racism doesn't exist when one of us talks about it. Oh, you talking about Rachel Dolezal? Yeah, she started her OnlyFans. She should have called hers only box braids. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only hairstyle that she ever be wearing. She wear the box braids. She don't even wear the I'm a white woman with mixed kids hairstyle. She just went straight to box braids. I ain't never seen no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen that. But she did it though. Usually they get that little crew cut. You know what I'm saying? She ain't even had a crew cut. She had the box braids. I was like, what the hell? She did. Like, I was like, what? And then she had the nerve to say she identifies as black. The police don't identify you as black. The fuck out of here. She's talking about you identify as black. I think she got a black boyfriend, but he's an African dude, though. He said, nigga, I got me a Western woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. You know what I'm saying? But you technically didn't, though, bro, because she says that she's black, motherfucker. So you dating a white woman that says that she's black. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not dating a white woman that says that she's white. You dating a white woman that says that she's black. All the while, Rachel Dolezal racking up that check on OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is crazy. Listen, man. She climbed up the ranks of the NAACP undetected. How did she do that? You can't tell me motherfuckers didn't know that she wasn't black now. Come on now. She don't look like a black woman. How did people think that she was black? That shit is that was the crazy shit to me. When I heard that whole story, I was wild, man. Chili Z said, I gotta stop drinking coffee when listening to you, man. Yeah, make sure you swallow it. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you swallow first before you turn the volume back up so you don't choke. We had to send somebody over there to do the Heimlich maneuver on you. We can't have that. We can't have that. I'll be no better than these pieces of shit if I'm out here killing people with my streams. That ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that goes on to show what the NAACP is on. Wasn't one of the presidents of the NAACP named Ben Gay or something like that? Carlton Way says she looks better black than white. She's not she's never been black and she's always been white. You know what I'm saying? That's his name. Ben Jealous. I knew it was something like that. I know they had this shit called Big Chuck and Lil John. Shout out to the 216. And they had this little skit on there. It was called Ben Crazy. That shit used to be like dun 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 dun. Dr. Ben Crazy. But this motherfucking name was Ben Jealous. So you know he a hater with a name like that. You know what I'm saying? You know this motherfucker was a hater with a name like that. Ben Jealous. You know what I'm saying? Val Williams said Rachel Dolezal was out here putting in work, though. I ain't mad at it. The only thing that I don't know Rachel Dolezal as far as her personal profile and things that she did, but she's in violation for blackfishing. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, listen, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you a cool white person, you know what I'm saying, and you trying to put in some work to be on the right side of history, I ain't got no issue with that, man. But don't be blackfishing to do it, because you just negating everything that you did by blackfishing. Like, come on, man. Like, just, you know what I'm saying? Like, be like, hi. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here to help. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's up? Your name Tyler or some shit? You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Don't do no bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you done fucked up everything that you did. How many? Never mind. I ain't even about to go there, man. I ain't even about to go there. Man. But shout out to RD for the work that she did put in. But like, don't be doing identity theft, man. Like, that's some bullshit. That fucks up everything that you did or everything that you was trying to do. She trying to be like Robin Hood, the queen of thieves out here. Like, stop it. Just do that shit right. You know what I'm saying? Buddy mad. You know what I'm saying? Now people mad. So now here it says a sentencing will take place in the federal trial at a later date. Cruz still faces a potential death by lethal injection in the state of Texas case against him, which is entirely separate from the federal charges. No date has been set for that trial. All right, so it looks like he can still be eligible for the death penalty through the state of Texas. Now, that trial hasn't come up yet, but I got a question for you guys. Would you guys be interested in me streaming that trial? If you guys would be, give me a thumbs up. If you guys are not, give me a thumbs down. All right? Let me know what y'all think. Them trials get kind of lengthy. You know what I'm saying? Chili said he gonna report to OnlyFans on some petty shit. Hey, look, you're gonna get mad at me, Chili. See, I'm pro OnlyFans. Everybody know that. You know what I'm saying? My subscribers will tell you that. Yo, is Blacklight Revelations a OnlyFans friendly zone? If so, give me a give me a thumbs up. If it's not, give me a thumbs down. We OnlyFans. Well, I shouldn't say we. I'm OnlyFans friendly over here. You know what I'm saying? But wait a minute, is she advertising herself as a black woman on OnlyFans though? Hi, my name is Rachel Dolezal. I'm African American. And she ain't doing that shit, is she? Because that is false advertising. Somebody gonna have to get the Better Business Bureau involved. That needs to be a bumper sticker. They need to get a picture of Rachel Dolezal with box braids and say she's done more for black people than the Congressional Black Talkers, and drive that sticker around in South Carolina. Oh, that'd be messed up. No, they need to get an OnlyFans picture of her. Get the raunchiest OnlyFans picture that they can find and put that shit on a bumper sticker. And say, she did more for black people than the Congressional Black Talkers. Man, Clyburn would be heated. He'd burn up all the fish. You know what I'm saying? Chili C said, no tricking over her. Yeah, nah. Hey, I ain't mad. Hey, listen. I ain't mad at it. You know what I'm saying? If put in a situation where tricking was the only option, I can't sit there and say that I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? If it was the only option. You know what I'm saying? Thank goodness it's not. But if it was, you got to just realize that the world is correct and pay to play. You know what I'm saying? You just got to realize that the world is correct and pay to play. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I ain't mad at the OnlyFans hustle at all. I ain't mad at it. The only thing I'm worried about is the racial wealth gap. You know what I'm saying? I think OnlyFans is fucking with it. You know what I'm saying? I seriously do. That's one of the reasons why we do that Bad Girls Gone Worse series, to see how much money these motherfuckers is making. Because they out here making like $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a month in droves. That can't be helping the racial wealth gap. Send them to Marcel Dixon. Yeah, he would like that. He would like that. The Black Congressional Caucus was outperformed by an OnlyFans model. If you want results that everybody can see, vote Marcel Dixon. I bet you Rachel Dolezal would pose on the bumper sticker for free too. DeAndre said them females is papered up over there. Facts. They got big bank in more ways than one. You know what I'm saying? They got big bank in more ways than one. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says former district attorney Yvonne Rosales has been handling the case before that, but she was forced out of the office over accusations of incompetency and mishandling of multiple cases, including the Walmart shooting, the biggest case in the city's history. So, I mean, if not much is going on in this city, what the hell was Yvonne Rosales doing? How was she mishandling all of these cases? You know what I'm saying? How was she doing that? Carlton Way said dudes are mad at the OnlyFans hustle because women ain't paying top dollar to see a man. I don't know why dudes are mad at the OnlyFans hustle, to be honest. Why are dudes mad about that? I ain't mad at it. I may need to land over there sometime to see who need a manager. Facts. Facts. That's what I'm saying. You know, you heard Kanye and Twisted, let me be your manager. You know what I'm saying? That's that shit you got to get on right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad. Listen, I'm gonna tell you one of the reasons why I appreciate OnlyFans. I appreciate OnlyFans because I think OnlyFans has saved a lot of women's lives. You know what I'm saying? OnlyFans has created a safe environment where women can get raunchy and get paid, and they don't have to worry about some crazy shit going down at like a strip club or something like that. They can do that shit from the safety of their home. And depending on their camera skills, depending on their editing skills, and depending on whatever skills you choose to showcase, you know what I'm saying? You can make as much money as you want to and not have to worry about dying unless you invite a stalker to your house. It's dangerous out there in them streets. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you work in the corner or if you're doing a strip club, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could actually be the victim of a crime. You know what I'm saying? Now, you can get a stalker. You know what I'm saying? You can still be the victim of a crime as an OnlyFans model, but I think you get shielded from that level of exposure, though. You know what I'm saying? And you can reach a broader audience. You know what I'm saying? If you stripping at a strip club, you can only reach the capacity of the people that's in the club. So if the club hold like 150 people, you know what I'm saying? That's the only capacity of broadcast radius that you have for that given duration of time. You know what I'm saying? But if you on OnlyFans, shit, you open 24/7, taking all forms of payment. You go up in the strip club with your phone, or you go up in the strip club, you know what I'm saying, with a credit card, you got to hit the ATM machine. They got PayPal and Cash App. You know what I'm saying? Cameron said, what I don't get is porn is free online. Is it? I don't understand OnlyFans because, you know what I'm saying, it's a lot of women willing to show you all that for free. But some, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I don't know. I never understood the strip clubs. You know what I'm saying? You get you somebody to do that for free. You know what I'm saying? Because there's people out there that'll do it for free. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I don't know. Different strokes for different folks. You know what I'm saying? Different strokes for different folks. And speaking of different strokes for different folks, that's all, folks. We finished everything that I wanted to talk about for this episode of CrimeCast. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right. If you guys are not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice, smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers. Make sure that you sub up to my other channels, and I will catch you all on the next video. All right. Peace.